Hi, this is David Oman with HouseAtTheEndOfTheDrive.com. You're listening to KPLK, The Fringe FM.
Hi, guys. Matt Ray with America's First News. And if you're like me, you're probably still looking for that special Christmas gift for your wife or girlfriend. Treat her to the very best this year. The world's softest pajamas from Pajamagram. Because they are the world's softest pajamas, they're lighter than a cloud, softer than a bunny. They're like cashmere, only better, and you'll love the way they look. She'll love the way they feel. The softness, the warmth, the comfort. And if you're like me, you can't stand wrapping presents. It's tough to do. Well, get this. Pajamagram includes free gift packaging. All you have to do is make the order, and delivery is guaranteed by Christmas. Plus, they're backed by a 100% lifetime guarantee. You risk nothing but the look on her face, guys, when she opens the Pajamagram. So go to Pajamagram.com right now. That's Pajamagram.com. Tell them Matt Ray sent you. That's Pajamagram.com. Tell them Matt Ray sent you.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Live for 3 hours every Saturday night. It's a show that engages the mind, makes you think, and maybe even challenge what you think you know. Hi, I'm Jeremy Scott of Into the Paranormal, where we talk about topics that are anything but mainstream, somewhere between abnormal and paranormal. Bring an open mind and join us for Into the Paranormal, live Saturdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on the Fringe FM. Hi, Jeremy Scott here from Into the Paranormal, and I'm back live Saturdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Fringe FM.
Who were the real ancient Egyptians? What is it about ancient Egypt that captivates us all? The critically acclaimed series Magical Egypt is back with all new episodes. Let Chance Gardner and company take you on another adventure through Magical Egypt in the new series Magical Egypt 2. Magical Egypt 2 attempts a forensic reconstruction of the science of the ancients through a study of ancient aesthetics. Also, the best researchers and authors in the field like John Anthony West, Graham Hancock, Laird Scranton, Robert Bouval, Lon Maladuquette, Aaron Cheek, and more join together to explore the topics of the esoteric and the hidden messages of the ancient Egyptians. Just go to MagicalEgypt.com right now and put in the code word FRINGE and get 10% off any download or order, including the groundbreaking original Magical Egypt series, as well as the new episodes in Magical Egypt 2. Also, check out the great work and the companion series at MagicalEgypt.com. Click the banner on the Fringe FM or go to MagicalEgypt.com and use the code word FRINGE and get 10% off your order today while it lasts.
We told you weeknights on the Fringe FM are now even better. And we mean it.
Do it live!
Where else can you hear the best shows and the best talent? Kick off your evening with our newest host, Alex Exum, live at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern. Hang out with me, Joe Roop, on Lighting the Void at 9 Pacific, midnight Eastern. Ryan Gable expands your mind on the secret teachings at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern. We're bringing the heat every single night. Fire it up, the Fringe FM.
This is Paranormal News. I'm John Jeter. Arizona is no stranger to stranger things. Objects fell out of the sky and hit 2 cars in Scottsdale, while in Phoenix, people are talking about explosions. This couple is realizing just how close they came to getting hit.
There was like an explosion.
All of a sudden I heard a loud bang.
And this is what it's been sounding like in Phoenix for more than a month. Law enforcement officials are scratching their heads over this one, and neighbors are just pleading for a good night's sleep, man.
You usually hear them late at night, too. That's the thing. It's not during the day.
Anywhere between 1 to 2 a night.
So, are they maybe connected? A science lab at a high school in Zimbabwe, where a teacher reportedly died from inhaling poisonous fumes, has been abandoned because his departed soul still haunts the place. Teachers and students say they had breathing problems and felt all itchy when inside the lab. School officials are considering destroying the building in hopes of cleaning out the spirit. Read the news at ParanormalRadio.com. I'm John Jeter, and this is Paranormal News.
Message is being broadcast by the Department of Defense of the Republic. At 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, multiple unidentified objects were confirmed to have entered Earth's atmosphere.
Discovery Houston, 20 seconds to LOS T-Drift. Copy, nice to be in orbit.
The first message that comes to you is you are a divine being. You matter. You count. You come from realms of unimaginable power and light, and you will return to those realms.
The vast stretches of the unknown and the unanswered and the unfinished still far outstrip our collective comprehension.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting from Forest Tower Studios, all the way from the Deep South. Now, here is your host, Joe Root.
Good evening. I'm Joe Roop, and this is Lighting the Void. It is Thursday night, December the 6th, on into the 7th, and the new moon is upon us. And you know what that means. Cosmic Conditions with Mary Dusina. We're live on KTLK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM, and our website is lightingthevoid.com. That's LIGHTINGTHEVOID, lightingthevoid.com. It is the new moon in December, and that means tonight is our new moon special with Mary Dusina. We look at the movements and cycles of the moon, the planets, and the signs. When we get our first reading from a real astrologer, I know we get a bit confused and perhaps afraid that there's something to it. And that's because there is, although I can't explain it at all. So if you need a bit of guidance from one of the best, I suggest you pay attention tonight. Call in, text in, or email at contact@lightingthevoid.com. Callers get first dibs, then texters, and then emailers, and then you chatters and Spreaker. I know everybody in the chat just went, oh, man. But use the phone. Please be polite, be patient, and you'll be rewarded with a free reading. Now, but the first hour, we're going to talk about December's cosmic forecast data. Now, guys, I know you love the night sky, and this is your month. December the 13th is the Geminids meteor shower, 100 meteors an hour. December the 16th, the comet 46P will be visible in the night sky to the naked eye. And December 21st is the solstice, and the shortest day of the year. And December the 22nd will be the Ursid's meteor shower. And that is going to be the last shower of the year. I do remember, though, I can recall the first reading I got from a real astrologer. It was Jeff Harmon, and it shocked me. And my first psychic reading I also remembered. That shocked me as well. It's hard to imagine that your entire paradigm shifts from a complete skeptic to a believer in about 5 minutes. That weird feeling when you know someone read you like a book. But it's also kind of exciting. Well, tonight, one of my favorite sky readers and mystics is with us, once again as the moon cycles into darkness, Mary Dusina. Now, Mary was born on Halloween. She's also known as Mystic Mary by some. My favorite witchy woman is here. She did the first psychic call-in show back in my favorite era, which was the 80s, in the Tampa area in Florida, and now she offers clairvoyant readings, angelic guide sessions, personal meditations, and seminars Also compatibility sessions as well as astrological readings. Now, once every new moon, she comes on Lighting the Void Radio to discuss the current cosmic conditions and offers her services for free if you call in. Now, you can check out her awesome website at marydusina.com, MARYDUSINA.com. Mary, how are you, dear?
I am good, my star brother Aries. How are you?
I'm doing a lot better than I was, actually, a few weeks ago.
Your audience better be, because this is the Halloween girl now. Mm-hmm. You better be sending your host with the most, Joe, here, some good healing vibrations, because this life journey, this incarnation, and December is going to wrap it all up with a bow on it. This life journey is about demonstrating the wisdom and the skill sets that we finally figure out when we get unchained from embedded, difficult emotions, feelings that are hard to rise above, but we can do it. Keep the faith. You can do it. As we learn these new techniques from, like, the first astrologer, the guy that read for you, Jeff Harmon, the first intuitive psychic that read for you, a light went on. And that's a lot of what Sagittarius is. This is the last month of 2018. It's beautiful 12th month, December. We've had Mercury turn forward, as they say, today. So 2018 has pretty much been a year. There were a lot of retrogrades this year. Mars was in retrograde, which affects Aries strongly. So starting back in the summer, March, and going into the summer, each new year we hope to go forward with our jobs and our relationships and our adventures and our explorations in a myriad of ways. But 2018 was about pump your brakes, back your truck up, as my friend Christina always says, puts that index finger up in the air, pump your brakes, back your truck up. It was about, let's look back, let's be sure, let's pause for whatever cause you keep affirming that it is that's either got you tied down, got you stuck, got your psychic cords and your etheric knots all around you, and let's look at it from a new point of view, maybe open up those chakras a little bit, decalcify that pineal gland, learn some new techniques. There are wonderful teachers and shamans and spiritual learning aids out there. There's wonderful writings. We have access to the internet. I personally have benefited the most because I am an avid researcher. That's what I admire about your next show, Ryan. He's such a good researcher. Mm-hmm. Whether it's been herbs or whether it's been the mystical applications of things, I didn't want to ever teach it, preach it, or gift it to anybody until I learned to apply it myself. So I had to take my skepticism into astrology and all right, now let's see how this works and why, into herbs. And I needed to be that guinea pig, and I needed to be that test tube. And so, being a rather headstrong Scorpio with a bunch of Scorpio, I felt it the best canvas. If I was going to allow the portrait to come to life, I needed to experiment somewhat on myself so I could say with some type of respect my authority, I did it to myself. I plunged in myself. So I'm not telling you something that I didn't dip my toe into the water first. Actually, I probably dove in because I was always an open-minded skeptic. You can't grow up with an engineer scientific father like I had and not have that wonderful hemisync of the mystical female side of my family, my mother and my grandmother, third generation of visionary seers, and then my father, who was absolutely all science. So I'm very blessed in this incarnation that I had the two S's. I had spirit and science, literally married as my parents. So when you go through those, borderline years of being a teenager and you got to test everything and you think you're all that in a bag of chips, so you bang your head up against the wall a bunch of times in relationships and in the risk we take and the daredevil aspects that we can do, as someone with Scorpio and Aquarius in their chart will do. I learned that the live teachers, a lot of them are in the Summerland and the spirit world now, the live shamans and First Nations Native American teachers and ministers and rabbis I met and Buddhist monks that I met and took their classes, and now he's in spirit too. Ted Andrews, launched into the spirit animal totems. I have all of his collection of books and tarot cards and things because Ted Andrews and David Carson and Jamie Sams, these were the people that were pioneers and took the risk in the land of, air quotes, woo-wooville, to put out, actually start compiling books and oracle cards and things about when this animal shows up or when you pick this card, this is what the invisible sources and forces are wanting to gift you with a talisman or an amulet or a piece of from the invisible to the visible to help you with your struggle. Because we get caught up in wanting to unravel the karma and the dharma, which for those of you who don't know, the dharma has a lot to do with the soul's duty when you study Hinduism and with the Sikhs like I did. So we have a duty, we have a vision quest that quenches our thirst of exploration and discovery and risk-taking, but then we also have a soul mission. And so we get torn sometimes between what I came in this lifetime, and this is what the people that raised me in my tribe or my parents or my foster parents or my adopted parents, this is what I came into this lifetime with, hardcore Catholicism or Wicca or Native American or Aboriginal or atheist or whatever, agnostic, whatever it is. And then at some point, it's up to us to start listening to the drumbeat of our heart and say, what lifts me? What lifts me up? The energies and the truth teachings and the applications of study that you do, when you can apply it to yourself and you're seeing results and you're feeling your heart rise, your mind clear, and you start to feel yourself dropping off the layers of that which limits you, which is what Sagittarius is all about. So this last month of 2018, until we get to Yuletide, until we get to a full moon, Yule, by the way, this year, until we get to Yuletide and shift to Capricorn and go into the earth element, this is the fire of the desire of the soul's eyes and seeing things with the magnanimous alchemy of our higher self, our higher truth, the blazing light that literally says, come to the altar. Come to the altar. Now, if you want to do that in the ceremonial ritual way,
by the way.
Yeah.
Come down to the altar. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I was going to say, whether you do an earth altar, whether you do a magical altar, or whether, like in my case, we heard a lot about there, just like you said, you come down, testify, and come down in a public sense and come down to the altar. And in my world at that time, between 7 and 10 years old, it was about the way we were taught then was do not come down to the altar until you feel the presence of the Holy Ghost. So that's the way we were taught. Now,
can I say something?
And I know everybody else is different.
I know that so a lot of people listen to the show because they're on a search for truth, and one of the biggest skeptics, I guess, subjects of skepticism there is divination, right? Astrology, tarot, all that stuff. But what I want some people to realize is that a lot of this stuff you can't prove scientifically. You have to try it and keep trying it before you realize that it actually works. And also keep in mind that in the East, one of the greatest societies that we've ever known, that a lot of our study is based around, the Egyptians, those people, that dynasty lasted for thousands of years. And even John Anthony West claimed that our perception of progress is dulled. We think progress is linear because we've got our Stripes toothpaste in our baseball games that we've progressed. But actually, spiritually, I believe back then, the Sky Watchers, they lived much longer. They lived healthier. Their dynasty was longer for a reason because they paid attention to that stuff.
Astrology
is
older than dirt. It's older than dirt. I mean, before there was ever a book called a Bible was written, the signs were in the heavens, and there's different scriptures, let there be every star in the heavens is named by the Creator, by God, let them be for signs. Whether you want to jump from Genesis to Psalms and start finding all 12 zodiac signs, like Da Vinci, when he painted the painting, The Last Supper. Very few people know, go do your research, you don't have to, trust me, that Da Vinci was also an astrologer. And, for example, Judas, which is the 8th, Scorpio is the 8th sign in the Western zodiac. Judas is the 8th one in that position of the painting of The Last Supper. He's the betrayer. He's the one that's going to sting. He's the one that's going to betray, which is the shadow side of Scorpio. The consumed with, the lower nature. When I say man, you gender people that get flare up easy. When I say man, I mean human. It's okay if it's man or woman, but in the painting, Judas is the 8th to the left because he did all the 12 disciples are tied into, and if you do your research, even biblically, you'll find the signs in there represented. There'll be the dragons and the scorpions and the bow and the altar, like in Sagittarius, the stars that are in the constellation of Sagittarius.
It's in Job too. When they were asking
what
Job,
else is in Job?
Why don't you curse God or whatever? And he said, well, I'll tell you, he said, can you bring forth Mazzaroth? Can you loose the bands of Orion? Mazzaroth, if you really research that word, is the zodiac.
Yeah.
So they were still watching it then.
Well, and so I just simply say to people, I'm not out to say to you that astrology is supposed to be something that you believe in. Like if you want to be Jewish and we're celebrating Hanukkah, or you want to be a disciple of Zoroastrianism, or you want to study Egyptology, I don't have a problem with that. I'm not. When I do astrology, I'm just dancing with the artistic character bloom of that. It's not my religion. It's not something I believe in. I'm an astrologer of over 3 decades. I don't believe in it. I know that I have helped thousands of people with just that one aspect of holistic awareness and awakening to begin to understand and unravel where they get all knotted up in their elements, And so it's like if you're a fire element, like we're in right now, Sagittarius, if you've got a lot of Aries or Leo or Sagittarius in your starry medicine wheel, you're supposed to be a fiery, passionate, curious, enthusiastic, from the Latin ethos. You're supposed to be fired up about things. But the fire signs of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, when they get into the shadow aspect, if they let their emotions or their anger get out of control, then they're very combustible. They can be very self-destructive because it's fire. And when you look at any of the movies that have gone on, like Dragonheart and different movies about dragons and Aragon, the dragon's tail can be just as dangerous as the fire that comes out of its mouth. I mean, it can wield a sharp smack with that thorny tail too, and it flies. And so it's and also speaking of Job, I remember a lot of times when people were real hardcore, and I'd run into that a lot. Nothing against the Baptist. I grew up in that world, but I just say that I'm more of an awakened Christ consciousness type of teacher. But they would say something about blah, 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 and I'm like, you do know that unicorns and dragons and leviathans in the Bible and Job. No, unicorns aren't real. And I'm like, well, go read this. So it surprises them that they're ready to cast judgment. And I think that's a big piece of the shadow side of Sagittarius. Stop with the automatic pilot going on in society right now, regardless of age. People need to stop casting stones verbally. They need to stop castrating people with their opinions and their condemnations and their judgments. And they're just so quick to just spew this vitriol out there, and you can look at them and say, have you done the research on this? I mean, I remember one of the astrologers I enjoyed reading in my teens, Debbie Kempton Smith. Mick Jagger one time said, I don't believe in astrology. Debbie Kempton Smith, which was known as the rock and roll astrologer, says, well, you've never met a good astrologer then. After that, he got his chart done.
That's true. I think a lot of people just have run-ins with really bad astrologers or the paper, or they've never met someone that could really read them,
Well, until you attend, you can read all the books you want to, and that's wonderful. But when I actually boots on the ground went and did ceremonial rituals with my Native American teachers, when I actually was in the medicine wheel, when I endeavored to take on 19 to 20 years of studying it and going to the circle and experiencing the different aspects of the four main directions and, of course, the spirit within, until I actually took my conscious and my subconscious and my higher conscious into the circle. Heaven and earth came alive for me. So yes, I'd read a lot of stuff. Yeah, I could quote this and do that. But until you actually get this body temple involved more in whatever truth teaching that you're endeavoring to be comfortable in, I mean, really embrace it so you can get that spirit, mind, astral, emotional, feeling, body temple involved in this. That's what holistic is. It's taking it on a myriad of levels. And Sagittarius, the ninth sign of the zodiac, wherever we have Sagittarius in our sky chart, and then we'll talk about December of this year, our final month of 2018, and its signatures, its starry signatures, it's where we want to put the boots on the ground as soldiers of the soul, as seeking those truth tellers and those way showers, and the shaman and the seer. And yes, there's a lot of, absolutely, there's a lot of charlatans out there. There's a lot of newbies and wannabes and people that will just take your money and tell you whatever you want to hear. I ran into that years ago in Florida in the MUFON community. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, I was thrilled when I would listen to Linda Moulton Howe or John Mack. Why? Because they did their research. They weren't in it for fanfare and glory at the time. They strictly were, you know, by my works you shall know me, kind of a thing. I mean, you knew Linda Moulton Howe, still does, was doing her research. John Mack risked his whole tenured position as the head of psychiatry to do the book, Abducted. I mean, he knew. I sat with breakfast with him. I told him, I said, you know, you're going to risk everything you've got, your marriage, you know, I can't be kicked out. I'm tenured in. I said, that's not what I'm saying psychically. Well, we know how that story panned out. So, but he went ahead and he embraced his vision quest. He went ahead and he did it. He risked all the societal, oh, you've made it, you're the head of psychiatry, blah, 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 everybody looks up to you. Raymond Moody risked, before John Mack, Raymond Moody risked his degree in psychiatry to go in to talk about past lives and scrying and life
I would love to get him on the show. I've tried to talk to him.
I've been on television with him. He's sometimes he gets a little standoffish, but he's a good interview. And I did television with him in Tampa. He likes to be left alone till he gets on air, and I've seen him in lectures. He's very focused. He's very on point. You probably could get him because I think he just was somebody else partnered up and just is into a whole new teaching venue and partnered up with someone to do a new book. But he knows his topic. John Mack knew his topic. Linda Moulton Howe knows her topic. You know, so when you find these people that are happy, that's where the word devotee comes from. To be devoted, no matter what their job is, no matter how many kids they have, no matter how many relationships they hook up and meet up with, or marry, or divorce, or whatever. Life is going to have its ups and downs. There's going to be waves where you're struggling health-wise or personally to keep your head above water, but it's how you rise back up. And when we shift from the sign of Scorpio into Sagittarius, what we're now, because Venus is still in Scorpio, Mercury went direct today with Scorpio. So when you rise back up, Scorpio is where we meet the dark night of the soul. It's where we go down into the things that tempt us, and where we can be seduced, and where we can be beguiled and bewitched and succumb to our addictions and our the private little things and nasty little sides of us that we don't want people to know that much about us. All our little nasty little secrets or addictions and all that. That's where Scorpio can get the talons in or get us chained, to that which can limit us, that which can hold us back, that which can be heavy.
So is it?
So when we're shifting,
are you talking about Scorpio because the moon's in Scorpio or something? You have to forgive me.
No, I'm talking about as we go down the procession of the signs in an annual cycle.
Okay.
So we're now we're doing this at the new moon. So the last new moon we did on November 7th, we were in the Scorpio cycle post Halloween. Now when we got into the sign of Sagittarius, when we shifted into that in the third week of November, then we start to rise up again. And when you look at the sky symbol in the heavens of the constellation of Sagittarius, the centaurs, and yes, they were all male in the legends and the myths, the centaurs are part of a shape-shifting animal animal-human combination. So it's the lower part below the navel there. It's a man, and the upper part of that creature, and the bottom part of it is a horse. Well, horse in animal spirit totems in medicine has a lot to do with wisdom, understanding. And when you look at the word understanding with the centaurs, they were all healers. And the centaur, it's the man who's got 4 legs now of the horse. And we talk about horsepower, and we talk about...
We got to take a break, Mary. I don't want to cut you off there, but we got to take a break here. Hey, also, I did get you guys' emails, too. So someone emailed and wanted me to ask you about the herbs, and healing medicine and stuff, too. So do you think you'll have time to talk about that tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I'm Joe Roop. This is Lighting the Void. We're here with Mary Dusina, live on the Fringe FM. Stay with us.
You're listening to Lighting the Void Radio.
The truth is out there.
There's something out here.
And so are we. KTOK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
Do you ever wonder why there's so much show in politics? Do you ever wonder why America's not getting fixed? Ever wonder why our media is not reporting the news? They report only their biased opinion. Are you tired of feeling like a controlled rat? Do you wonder what's next? If you're looking for answers, join me, Ronnie McMullen, for my new show, Deep Waters Radio. That's Deep Waters Radio. Monday nights, 9 p.m. Pacific, right here on the Fringe FM.
Hi, this is Aaron Hunter, host of Real Paranormal Activity, the podcast where we tell real paranormal experiences of people from around the world. And we also conduct interviews with authors, investigators, psychics, and mediums. Real people, real stories, real fear. Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on the Fringe FM. See you then.
Hi, guys. Matt Ray with America's First News. And if you're like me, you're probably still looking for that special Christmas gift for your wife or girlfriend. Treat her to the very best this year. The world's softest pajamas from Pajamagram. Because they are the world's softest pajamas, they're lighter than a cloud, softer than a bunny. They're like cashmere, only better, and you'll love the way they look. She'll love the way they feel. The softness, the warmth, the comfort. And if you're like me, you can't stand wrapping presents. It's tough to do. Well, get this. Pajamagram includes free gift packaging. All you have to do is make the order, and delivery is guaranteed by Christmas. Plus, they're backed by a 100% lifetime guarantee. You risk nothing but the look on her face, guys, when she opens the Pajamagram. So go to Pajamagram.com right now. That's Pajamagram.com. Tell them Matt Ray sent you. That's Pajamagram.com. Tell them Matt Ray sent you.
When I'm done running with the wolves after hunting down a half-ton bison, I look forward to a mind-teetering escapade evening on the Fringe FM.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
This is Cortana from Shift Happens, telling you to pour a glass and park your ass because you're listening to KTLK, the Fringe FM. Shifthead.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied. But you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with You fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
Howdy, this is Catalina, and you're listening to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop.
Welcome back to Lighting the Void. It's Cosmic Conditions Night with Mary Dusina. Remember, the call-in number is 1-800-588-0335 if you want a free reading. Usually we'll start that around the second hour. The text-in number, if you want to text in, is 501-777-5631. And in case you guys are wondering, I know I got a few texts and emails about the Bob Lazar film. I did watch it. I watched it twice, actually. And Monday, we're going to be talking about that. Tuesday night, Jason Quitt's going to come back on the program, so that's going to be another interesting night. And a little quick news here. I thought you might find this interesting, that 50 employees at an Amazon warehouse were sickened, 24 of them hospitalized after a robot punctured a can of bear repellent spray. A total of 24 workers were sent to 5 hospitals with difficulty breathing and a burning sensation in the eyes and throat. A spokesperson initially said an aerosol can fell off a shelf on the warehouse's 3rd floor, prompting an evacuation of one wing of the facility. But police later confirmed a warehouse robot went out of control and punctured a can of bear repellent. The 1.3 million square foot facility that employs 3,000 people, and they have 12 robots in there, and they're going crazy. But you can't fire the robot, but they're worth it, right? That's kind of crazy. Poor people. Every time I look on the news, Amazon's getting another hit for something crazy, you know?
I should look up and see what zodiac sign Amazon is when they incorporated. But it's interesting that it was bear repellent. So someone like me that studies a lot to do with either the upright or the reversed oracle cards or whatever, not that those people would give a hang about that right now because they don't feel good, and there's probably capsaicin in that can, you know, like the real high heat units of pepper or something in a bear repellent. I don't know what's in bear repellent, but usually they put in there, incorporating some kind of hot pepper. But I would definitely say that something to do with the bear totem is literally right in their face, literally right in their face. And, you know, I'm like a lot of the people that are warning about AI. When I get into my 2019 predictions, that's one of them, not to be negative, but that's one of them that makes me go, not getting a good vibe on the AI thing, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if this was an artificial intelligent robot, but I think this is like the second robot they've had issues with it, where it's caused some type of accident that's happened, you know?
It's still in the AI category, though. If it's being programmed and it's, you know, I don't care if it's a Zumba running around your house or it's Alexa, spy on me and record everything that's going on. In the meantime, would you dim the lights, turn on the Christmas tree, and, you know, make me think that you really aren't recording everything that's going on? Thanks, Alexa.
I'm slightly attracted to Alexa, though, I got to tell you.
Well, I like the voice, but partially. I mean, besides that, I mean, if she's talking to you and she's controlling, you know, the controls in your house, guess what? There's a payoff for the people that created little AI Alexa. Of course she has a great voice. Remember the first female on English GPS voices?
Oh, yeah.
You know, you had a choice whether you wanted the female or you had a choice whether you wanted the English guy to tell you which way to go when you had those things that you'd mount in your car. Okay, so before we get to the herbs, the new moon is tonight. Now, just a little quick teaching reminder. When we had the new moon, when you go outside and you can see the stars glittering on a clear night, but you can't really locate any sliver of the moon, the new moons are known as the wishing moons. So these are when you want to, in general, before I talk about this specific one, because it, to me, the most powerful, fortunate one of the whole year, you want to really, in the balsamic moon phase, 3 days before the actual new moon, and of course we're talking a big cross-section of different time zones here, but for some people, it'll be the wee hours of the 7th. For some people, it's 11:20 tonight. And then there's people that will just do Greenwich time. But the new moon represents, you look at the sign, it's when the sun and the moon marry or they're working together. The sun kisses the moon in the same celestial frequency. So Sagittarius is one of the yang signs. There's 6 yin and 6 yang. Sagittarius is an autumn sign. The autumn signs are Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius. And so Sagittarius is the action-oriented sign. Fire is all about action, startup, let's do it, why not? So it's the race car driver, it's the soldier of fortune, it's the one that wants to be a part of the charitable, let's help the needy, let's do something for the animals, let's make a difference in this community. Sagittarius, like Aquarius, although Aquarius is an air sign, these are humanitarian-based type of frequencies. Sagittarius is like, set your example by how you live and the walk that you do, not just the talk, where Geminis can be the master storytellers and the talkers. And I'm not taking anything away from the integrity potential of Geminis, but Gemini's shadow is the silver-tongued devil that'll tell you whatever they need to tell you to get their way. So
when
that's
was Gemini, when are they born again?
That's like the third week of May into up right before summer solstice. At summer solstice that's when the sign of Cancer the crab begins. So
okay.
that the last sign of spring. The spring signs are Aries, Taurus, Gemini. So the very last sign of spring is Gemini. So Gemini is the polarity.
Don't
They're
date
both
Geminis. Gotcha.
Well, test them for sure. Scorpio loves to dangle their scorpionic stinger in front of a Gemini, like, oh, really? Would you like to play and banter psychologically? Geminis run from Scorpios. I mean, they're either they're okay as relatives and friends, but they don't engage the femme fatale of Scorpio very easily, because Gemini would be like, all right, never mind, I feel the heat over here, because the Scorpios, oh, come play, please do. Please underestimate me. That'll be fun. That's what a Scorpio would say to a Gemini. So Gemini is, they want to flirt and they want to play, but they want to keep it light. One of their
totems. Scorpios.
It's a light sign. So it's like butterflies and songbirds, and they like to keep it light. Like, tell me a story, entertain me, flirt with me, play with me. Don't get heavy and deep. And Scorpio's like, okay, I'm already bored.
Okay.
So that's why those two can clash. They can hook up, but rarely is it going to last a long time, because the Scorpio's like, I'm not taking all this on. I'm not doing all the psychological work in this tango that we got going on. And I know how much fun I bring into this relationship. So step up or get out. And Gemini will go, okay, I'll go play with somebody else now. I mean, that's the kid that wants to come to play and go home and take their toys. So this new moon, Gemini, you can't talk about Sagittarius and not talk about Gemini, because Gemini is the other yang opposite sign to Sagittarius. And so where Gemini says, thrill me with words, intrigue my mind, Sagittarius is going to actually be the one that goes and takes the adventure, straps into the race car, goes over out of the country to meet with the cultures, where Gemini's still back in the States figuring out the managerial plan, or who's going to be the CEO and how they're going to get the funds and distribute. So both are valuable, but Sagittarius is going to be the actual Doctors Without Borders. I mean, they're actually going to get involved with packing up the food cans to feed the people at Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas that are in need. Sagittarius is going to be out there handing out blankets. Yeah, like Aquarius. Where Gemini, which could be very valuable, is going to be coordinating who's going to donate the blankets. They're going to go out there and charm. They're master salesmen. That's what they are. Think about Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I'm done with salesmen or women, right, to be honest with you.
Well, you're dynamic. You're Aries. So this new moon is saying to us, the Archer, the Centaur, the Sagittarius, and we all have it around our starry medicine wheel. We all have Sagittarius located in our sky charts, whether you know your time of birth or not. Even if you just know your sun sign, we all have Sagittarius, because we've got all 12 signs orbiting in the dynamic 12 months of the year, 12 signs around the wheel. So Sagittarius is saying to us, rise up from whatever challenges you got into the quicksand of this year. Now, how can you reframe that story? How can you upgrade your programming to where it or they didn't get to you? When you get out of getting unstuck with, I can't believe what they said, I can't believe what they did or what they didn't do, then you're too focused on me. When you align yourself with the divine frequencies, you're one with the dynamic creator. So therefore, there's no me and they anymore. So you can't be a victim. You can only walk through in victory because you're not locked down in just the egoic, subconscious, conscious dynamic. You choose to. It's like the Buddha at the Bodhi tree. It's like he's tempted by, the illusion tempts him with the woman, and then it tempts him with this or that. And at the Bodhi tree, seeking this, and he was one with the divine frequency. So that's where he was rising up and one with the Buddhic frequency. So therefore, the Maya could not tempt him with the seduction. He didn't fall prey to just the physical body seduction temptations. He didn't fall prey to the ego or the materialistic desires. Instead, it was like, what is this life about anyway? I mean, I remember being a child saying, okay, why am I here? What's it about? And even when I first started studying reincarnation, it's like, okay, let's say I accept reincarnation. Where am I headed? What's the point? So I believe everybody out there, regardless of their spiritual signature, there is that part of them, the inner child, the higher soul, their oversoul, their highest aspect of self is saying, there's more to this. There's more to this. I mean, this is a big game plan here. And it's very much like when we fall in love. We can be bitching about our job or feeling like we're tired all the time and our health is, annoying, or we want to lose weight, we want to gain weight, we want to do this, we want to do that. We're kind of like whine machines. And then all of a sudden, that's why I think we crave love and look for it. All of a sudden, someone comes into your life and it's just like the food tastes better, the job's not getting to you anymore because there's that electromagnetic frequency of this dynamic other
That's
creature.
That's attraction, though, isn't it? Isn't there a difference?
Absolutely. But attraction is magic because it's an elixir. It's like that fire that it's like all the elements come together. There's like the body juices, and there's the kisses, and there's the earthy element of it, and there's the fire of you think about them when they're not with you, and will they call, and does he like me, and is she into me, and wonder where this is. There's fascination and the air element of the mind, and your spirits merge, not just your bodies, and there's a palatable electrical dynamic engine that happens. And so the tangible material world doesn't have that same kind of hold on us when there's somebody dynamic that's titillating our mind and our spirit and everything. And that's what Sagittarius is like, what's your passion, man? What turns you on right now? What's the why of your life? Have you found the why? So Sagittarius, and to a lesser extent, Aquarius is about, okay, December of 2018 is about, regardless of who you met, who you kicked out of your life, what boundaries you set, have you found the why? And if someone's scratching their head going, what? Yeah, okay, the what that I'm offering you is Sagittarius, and this new moon is saying, in your dream journals, when you go into your lucid dreaming, when you do your meditations, quit complaining, go do some meditating, go do some nature walks, go be among the trees. Those of you that love snow, get out in it. Those of you who love the beach, get there. Unplug and get there. Sagittarius is about why. Why am I sad? Why am I longing for this? Why do I want to go visit China? Why do I want a dog? Why am I drawn to this? And why am I done with that? That's what Sagittarius is saying to us at this new moon. And I'm a big fan. If you want to up your game holistically and metaphysically, some people, when I'm working with them for holistic health, I'll say, write down a week of what your go-to food is. I'm not judging you. Just write it down. Where you like to stop, what you're putting in your body. Are you a fish person, chicken person, vegan? What are you doing? Are you taking these supplements? What are they? So Sagittarius is about herbs and adaptogens that warm and begin to build immunity. So like for Sagittarius, if you're going to do some fresh greens, you want to do something like alfalfa, spirulina, chlorella. You want aloe, if you can get some aloe. Some people don't like the gel.
Oh.
So if you don't want aloe.
For people that don't want aloe, let me tell you something. The best shape I ever got in my entire life back when I was in my 20s and modeling and all that stuff, I was drinking aloe. Like, I wasn't drinking it like water, but I would take it a few times a day, and I never felt better.
If someone would mix aloe gel in with whatever taste you like, you can go to the grocery store now, thank God, and you can buy the tart cherry juice, which will keep gout away from you forever. So, there's nothing sweet about it. It's tart cherry juice. And I buy there's a $11 bottle and there's a $20 bottle, and it's thick, like cough syrup. And I put it in my smoothies, or I'll put it in my water with fresh sliced lemon. Why lemon? Because lemon alkalines the body. And then what you do then is I buy the aloe gel because I want more bang for the buck. And if I'm going to drink it once a day, I want the thick stuff in there. You just stir it up. And if you want ice cubes, that's going to dilute it a little bit, but at least the live food is going in. And I have interviewed and talked to doctors and nurses and people that work in radiation about what they know about aloe. And allopathic people and naturopathic people will tell you this. When people have been exposed in a radiation situation, whether it's radiation for anti-cancer treatments or they've worked in hot areas,
right,
aloe is what heals the mucosa tissue on the inside of your body. The same tissue that's on the inside of your mouth, that soft tissue there up on the inside of our bodies. That's the soft mucosa tissue. It goes in and it heals that. And if you have any kind of irritable bowel issues, diverticulitis or Crohn's or constipation, or you've
and
got
that stuff
things
is so hard to drink, though. It really is. You're right, though. You got to mix it up. It's hard to get down.
Well, I just get the aloe gel and I get out my blender, right? I just get the aloe gel and I go get some. I was amazed today, but the Dollar Tree, so for $1, I'm like, oh my God, that's fresh frozen pineapple. I can't believe they've got that. So immediately I read the label. It's not from China. I was like looking for the caveat, and it was just made in USA, ingredients, 100% pineapple. And I'm like, I'm going to try that. So for $1, so on everybody's budget, pineapple is good in the Sagittarius cycle too, because we're eating richer foods at Hanukkah and Thanksgiving and Christmas. We're tending to lean more towards sugary things. And pineapple has bromelain. And so pineapple is a digestive enzyme. You can tenderize meat with fresh pineapple because it starts to break down. So it's an enzymatic, and most people over 30 don't have the digestive enzymes that they need to break down their food. So then it putrefies, and then you have things like yeast, aka candida, or you have acid reflux. And so if you'll just start eating some fresh pineapple, or if you don't like the way it feels on your mouth, because some people, they'll feel a little tingling with that when you're eating fresh pineapple, go get fresh flash frozen pineapple, and that was Dollar Tree for $1. I was amazed. And just put it with some bananas. There's your potassium. Put in the tart cherry juice, and I'll take a couple of slices of a fresh lemon, or those little bottles that have just 100% lemon juice in them. Put a couple of squirts in there of that, and put your aloe gel. I'm telling you, when you blend it up, you're not going to taste it.
Well, what I drank was. Do you mean the aloe juice? Is that what you mean?
There's juice and there's gel.
Okay, all right. I drank the juice. Stuff.
Yeah, you can get aloe juice, and that's easier. It's not quite so thick like honey.
Yeah, it was still hard to drink.
Adaptogens. When we're coming into colder months, unless you just live in Florida and you have summer, 11 months of the year. The adaptogens, but you still got the northerners coming in carrying the flu and all getting flu shots and all that. Adaptogens are like Parte Arco tea. If you don't have money to go get these herbs, go get the teas at your grocery store. Look for things like Rooibos tea, ashwagandha. Parte Arco tea is like from a bark from Peru, but these things start to actually help the adrenal glands. When you start having trouble and you're tired all the time and you think you're going to be slipping into mono, or you're too high stress and you're too driven and you're going too much, you're blowing out your adrenals. Is what you're doing.
Okay.
So aloe will begin to calm that down. The tart cherry juice is going to help the bladder, the prostate. Cranberries right now, when you look at the food cycle of the year, Joe, fresh cranberries are in right now.
What about? Can I ask you a quick question? And I don't want you to get off track here. But we're about to start taking your calls. We already have people waiting, but you have, so do these planets rule over these certain plants and juices and stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
So you look, like for example, for Sagittarius, when you're getting into the fire signs, let's say you're getting into cold weather, ginger and cooking with dry mustard, eating mustard on your sandwiches. I know there's people that hate mustard, so you can bake with it and not taste it. Mustard and ginger, those are warming spices and food. They warm you. They will warm you. Like I don't work with ginger in summer because it's going to heat you up. Or like peppermint, going and getting some peppermint essential oil or peppermint or spearmint live plants, those will cool you down. You can put them in your water. You can infuse your water with them.
Okay.
And so it depends on what you're wanting to do with your body.
Well,
But yes, Sagittarius would be like adding cayenne pepper and working more with garlic. And garlic will help build your immunity as well when you're coming into these winter months.
That's what I wanted to talk about. And when we get free time between calls, David emailed me and asked to talk to you about the medicine wheel and how it relates to astrology.
Okay.
If you want to talk about that, it is.
Oh, that's the way I do astrology, is the medicine wheel.
Okay, cool.
That's my signature. That's my signature move, Joe.
Yeah, I'd like to know all that stuff, you know.
Oh,
like
it's a wonderful way to embark on astrology. It takes all the complicated stuff out of it.
So there's certain times of the year you can see what's, and the thing about it is too, you know, Richard Allen Miller was on last night and he was talking about how we're all different, and he believes that too because he's an herbalist, right? So he doesn't believe that there's a one fix for everything. It's a lot of trial and error and understanding the herbs and planets and all that to figure out what's best for you.
Well, it's more than that, and he's right. It's more than that. So let's say that you come into holistic herbology, whether you've had your chart done or not, and you're a McDonald's or, you know, just fast food, I shouldn't name, fast food type of person, and you eat a lot of fried foods, and you eat, you know, you lean toward sugar, and you're clueless that you're eating a lot of high fructose corn syrup, and they changed the name to hide it, or you're eating stuff with canola oil in it, or you're eating stuff with the wrong kind of fats, and you know, you fried all the nutrients out of it. So you're coming to the table in a sense of learning about nutrition as a highly acidic person. So the first thing you want to do is to take baby steps. You know, the longest journey begins with the first single step. Is what I had to do was learn how to alkaline my system. So I had to learn I didn't like all these foods when I first started with this. It's like, you know, first I'd started out with supplements, you know, and then I went, I'm going to do some teas. And then so I thought, well, instead of taking all these pills and spending all this money, I need to really study the foods and the herbs and the spices. And I need to start, if I don't like these things, if I don't like rutabaga or some of the root crops, I need to start putting them in my soup with other flavors that I do like. You know, like you said, I think wasn't it last month you said you hate cilantro?
Cilantro is terrible. It's like eating soap.
Okay. I had to learn to like that because cilantro is one of the actual green plants that will pull heavy metals out of your body. So I learned.
Why is the stuff we hate always good for us? That's stupid.
Well, because we tend to run acidic. America tends to eat a very acidic, I'm in a hurry, I got to go, and we eat more artificial preservatives and flavorings, and we get addicted to those things. And I know Ryan's come out with a new book to do with, because I've enjoyed listening to all his herbal knowledge. Yeah. I mean, everybody should jump on that, because when you have a good textbook like that, I mean, I went through I had like go-to books that you could, you know, look up natural healing and books, you know, these $20 books. My God, I tore them up. I was referring to them all the time. And again, I was the test tube. I was the guinea pig. So you don't have to go full throttle into it, but if you'll start saying, okay, step one, like your guest was talking about last night, and I was sitting there going, oh, I so agree with this. I love this man because he said, step one, learn psychic self-defense.
Right.
Step one.
By the way, I want to tell everybody real quick, I know nobody's gotten an email from the email list, but I'm going to send out Psychic Self-Defense for everybody on the email list, the ebook.
Absolutely.
So it's coming.
Don't even start trying to play baby psychic or baby shaman or want to be this or want to be that or, I'm going to be a magician or I'm going to be a Wiccan. Number one, on any path that you want to go on of truth and inviting alchemy and magic into your life, or I'm going to be a medium, or I'm going to do oracle cards or whatever. Learn psychic self-defense. Be proactive about knowing the spirit world in a sense of some people work with the armor of God. If they're working with the Bible, they know how to put on the breastplate of this and the helmet of this and the sword of this. So in every aspect of truth teachings, there is that very viable, necessary key of how to protect yourself and the beauty of your soul and how not to get invaded by deleterious energies.
Cool.
You know, it's yeah, I mean, he's absolutely spot on with that. When I heard that, I was like, oh, man, bing, you win the award. I don't hear enough people talking about it, Joe.
Well, whatever you have left to talk about, which I know we'll get in tonight, we're going to sprinkle in. We got to start taking some callers. We got some extremely patient people on the line here. So
thank you.
We're going to take a break. We'll be right back and take your phone calls. Remember, the caller number is 1-800-588-0335. 1-800-588-0335. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Lighting the Void Radio.
From Studio 303, it's the Stranger Than Fiction News right here on the Fringe FM, bringing light to the stories that surround us. What black holes really look like? Astronomers find that they do not resemble donuts, but are actually fountains. New observations and simulations show black hole donut is really more complex. Researchers say dynamic structure has 3 gaseous components that swirl. Instead of a donut, it's more of a 3-dimensional fountain, researchers say. You can read more of this article at the Daily Mail UK. And Roswell, New Mexico's place in UFO lore is being celebrated in a big way via an enormous new alien statue that towers over the city. According to local media report, the 22-foot-tall depiction of a green ET was installed on the city's main street earlier this week. The massive monument comes courtesy of a recently opened Dunkin' Donuts Baskin-Robbins that drew inspiration from Roswell's famous alien-themed McDonald's. The story was written by Tim Bennell. And another huge pterosaur is observed at the Vermilion River in Danville, Illinois. As the witness stood on a bluff looking out onto the river, he noticed a large, shadowy figure gliding downstream towards him. As it got closer, the bizarre creature became more defined. He observed what he described as a pterodactyl gliding about 4 to 5 feet above the surface of the river. The witness estimated that the wingspan was approximately 25 feet as it covered half the width of the river. The huge flying being looked exactly like the images of a prehistoric flying dinosaur. Long beak with a long ray on the head, dark gray leathery skinned body, and wings. The long tail was flattened at the end. It made little sound, but cast a shadow on the river as it flew just below the height of the bluff. The water swirled as it glided past. The beast continued gliding downstream until the witness lost sight of it. He stated that it never flapped its wings. The witness's first reaction was to get back into the house and tell his wife what he had seen. This story is posted at phantomsandmonsters.com. And time for this edition's fun fact. The Machineal tree is nicknamed the Tree of Death, but for a good reason. Touching it can leave chemical burns on your skin, its fruit is toxic, and if you burn the bark, it can cause blindness. And that wraps it up for another edition of the Stranger Than Fiction News right here on the Fringe FM. I'm Vance Nesbitt, anchor and news sorcerer.
The truth is out there.
There's something out here.
And so are we. KTO
KTLK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
Hi, guys. Matt Ray with America's First News. And if you're like me, you're probably still looking for that special Christmas gift for your wife or girlfriend. Treat her to the very best this year. The world's softest pajamas from Pajamagram. Because they are the world's softest pajamas, they're lighter than a cloud, softer than a bunny. They're like cashmere, only better, and you'll love the way they look. She'll love the way they feel. The softness, the warmth, the comfort. And if you're like me, you can't stand wrapping presents. It's tough to do. Well, get this. Pajamagram includes free gift packaging. All you have to do is make the order, and delivery is guaranteed by Christmas. Plus, they're backed by a 100% lifetime guarantee. You risk nothing but the look on her face, guys, when she opens the Pajamagram. So go to Pajamagram.com right now. That's Pajamagram.com. Tell them Matt Ray sent you. That's Pajamagram.com. Tell them Matt Ray sent you.
Howdy, this is Catalina, and you're listening to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop.
To call Joe, pick up the phone, dial 1-800-588-0335, toll free from the United States or Canada. You're listening to Lighting the Void Radio.
All right, welcome back. I saw in the chat room someone was bringing up flu shots a while ago. I know if you've been paying attention, there is actually a man that's unable to speak, walk, or see, or even breathe days after getting a flu shot. A Las Vegas man lost his vision, became partially paralyzed, and has been unable to breathe without assistance since getting a flu shot last month. His name is Shane Morgan, and his wife, Monique, decided to get a flu shot on November the 2nd, believing it would help protect them and their family members. Well, what they thought was a proactive measure turned out to be pretty scary when he began losing feeling in his arms and legs. And about 36 hours after he got the flu shot, he started to get sick. And that was what they explained to KSNV. He said, "I never dreamed that any of this could ever happen," he told local media. Now, that was reported on the InfoWars. I don't know how true it is, but they scare the hell out of me. I don't get them sons of bitches. But if you do, no offense, right? I mean, if I'm just letting you guys know what's going on. So we're taking your phone calls with Mary Dusina. It's Cosmic Conditions Night. The call-in number is 1-800-588-0335. And we have our first caller was Junior from Illinois. How you doing, Junior?
I'm doing great, Joe. I don't know if you remember, but a few months ago I called on my birthday in August. And I just want to let you and your entire audience know that Mary is absolutely amazing. She said I would meet someone, and I have.
Awesome.
And my heart says elope, but my mind tells me to wait, don't jump into anything, get to know someone first, and then start talking about relationship. But every moment my heart is saying elope. So, Mary, thank you for coming into my life and bringing your God-given talents to share with me, because you were
Thank
right
you so
on
much.
the money.
Audience is
And
everything.
tonight I have a different question, and it's kind of two questions, but I'm going to try and string it into one. I know that for some people, for whatever reason, this time of year is difficult for them. And I was wondering if you could use your divine powers and connect with the higher realms of spirit. And I'm not talking about colleagues or family friends, but I'm thinking about my personal friends. And could you possibly hone in on a name or a description of how someone looks, that it's a friend that I'm still in contact with, but not on a frequent basis, where they would benefit somehow if I was to email them, give them a call, send them a card out of the blue, or maybe even just drop by for a nice unannounced short visit?
The first impression I get intuitively, thank you, angels. The first impression I get, and the angels like working with you, by the way, that I get is for you to go into maybe just 5, 7, 10 minutes of a deliberate, conscious solitude type of what I call silent listening in a meditation. Now, you can put on some beautiful classical or mystical or Reiki music in the background. As I always say, YouTube's wonderful for that. Not so much, I'd like it to be more instrumental, whatever you choose, rather than like the lyrics overriding what the background harmony of the muse is in the actual sound healing. And I would like you to take this, I see infrequently type of person, I'd like you to take them into the heart chakra, into your heart center there, knowing that you are, as Joe and I are talking about, first and foremost when you begin a meditation or a quiet, silent listening, again, you protect yourself, you shield yourself with light, you give thanks to both your guardian guides and your archangels that are attending in the moment. Then you move into a psychic concert with the other person that you wish to send harmony and grace and glory and healing to, especially in these times of angst and loneliness, or that's, when there was a breakup or the first Christmas after a pet or someone dies, or there's, they don't have that lover for this Christmas. And I feel, I keep feeling like a brunette vibration, and I feel very, very expressive eyes, like the personality feels like that they try to, mask might not be the right word, it might be kind of hide, or they're a little bit shy or reticent about wanting to reveal what their feelings are or what their emotions are, so they may come across as a type of frozen face or non-expressive, not going to let anybody get into easy, a little bit on the defensive, but I feel like that their eyes, as they always say, are the windows of the soul, and I can see like pools of, psychically what I'm seeing are pools of them getting a little teared up, like they're holding back or trying to micromanage old pain or old disappointments or old rejections. And a lot of times when people are suppressing an old rejection, it can turn into flights of fury. Like fast anger can come out in moods they can seem to be a little bit unstable and combustible at odd times, but really what it is it's like they're holding that, again, Sagittarius fire right now. They're before the holidays, in between Thanksgiving and when we go into Capricorn of Christmas. Hanukkah gets involved in Sagittarius, and what's happening is we find the fire of desire and also the unresolved fire of old resentments or regrets or frustration. So I feel like that this person that you're thinking about, and to answer the modus operandi for you, first and foremost, I feel like you should do that soft moment, send them like sweet, energy is alive, and send them like frequencies of harmony without an attachment to the outcome, like whether they ever say, oh, when I think of you, I always feel sweet, soft moments. No, I feel like that you just need to do that as your energy, spiritual, sacred tithe. I'm just going to send this person frequencies of harmony and bliss. Whether I ever know about it or hear about it, I'm just doing this. That's my holiday tithe. And then I feel like that the card, I like the idea of the card because everybody emails or everybody texts, and there's something charming and very visual, most humans are visual, about getting something in the mail other than a bill due. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't seen them for a while, it's like the full impact of your energy from your handwriting and how you address the envelope and the style of card that you pick. Is it Hallmark? Is something that just was whimsical, or you feel in the meditation, do I want to uplift them with laughter and do something humorous and then write something of a sweet sentiment, or do I want to put like a powerful visual image and the card's actually blank inside and I write something about our incoming new year and my wishes for them for the holidays. And please feel free to email or call me. Give them choices. That's what I feel, because I feel a defensive armor on them. So I feel like that if you say, I've upgraded my email, so you're giving them a back door. My new email is, even if it's the same one you've had for 10 years, my current email is, because that's not a lie, and the best number to reach me at is, and if you'd love to meet for a coffee, I would love to, I'll meet you. So again, you're giving them a back door. You can meet them. You don't have to go pick them up, or they don't have to come pick you up. If you'd like to meet sometime early in this new year to catch up, I'd be glad to treat you to a coffee at, Starbucks, whatever it is that people like to do. I'd love to meet you for that. So you've given them they've got this full spectrum of choices, so you've not caged them in any way psychologically or emotionally. Does that make sense? I just feel like that it has to kind of be their choice, their move to respond back.
Yes. The written approach in the card makes perfect sense. But you've described about 3 of my friends.
Well, the one, okay.
And one is in Michigan, one is in Illinois, and one is in California.
California's strongest. California's strongest. California, here's the way the order goes psychically. This is from my guides, not me. I'm just downloading this. California is number 1 in the position of priority, then Michigan, and then Illinois. Illinois feels the weakest connection. California feels the strongest to make connection with, and Michigan feels like it's in second place.
Okay, great. Okay, well, thank you very much, and Joe and Mary,
you're welcome. Thank you for your loyalty. Thank you for your loyalty and your time investment to the show and to support Joe's venue and all of that. Really, when we have a cosmic and conscious community to give a damn when these truth teachers and these hosts, have all these different interviews and these different people. I'm not just talking for myself. I've been in radio. I've been the host and I've been the guest. But when you step up and support these guests they have on and the host that provides the venue, and he's paying the satellite bill and he's paying the server and all that, I don't care if people send $20, a month. Imagine if 100 people.
I don't know if we lost Mary or not. Hey, Junior, are you still there?
Yes.
How long was it after that she told you about that happened?
Well, they called in August, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Junior. I called in August, and it happened in October.
Wow, okay. So that happened pretty quick then.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. We lost you for a second there, Mary, when you were trying to get people to support. Isn't that funny?
Well, no, that's shadow forces. What I was saying was, and I can feel from your caller that he gets this. He really gets this, that he's got a charitable heart and mind. Your listening audience, the community out there, when we have these hosts and we have these guests and we have these, people like Joe and the Fringe FM, and the people that want this ship to continue sailing forward and to grow. And everybody, not every guest is going to be everybody's cup of tea, and true experts get that. It doesn't insult me at all. I mean, there's going to be some you like and some you like better. But all of us, it wouldn't break our banks if all of us would send in $20 or send in $10, because if you get 1,000 people sending in $10 or 200 people sending in $20, then the equipment stays fresh and the server gets paid like several months in advance, and it gives the host a bit of relaxation, whoever that host he or she is, to be able to have a little bit of that pregnant pause and breather and go, oh, how nice, I can start the new year not focusing on anything but my creative fire to do the topics I want to, and to continue my studies and to continue to bless my audience. Sagittarius is all about generosity, and Jupiter is in Sagittarius for the next 12 months, both to our caller and to the audience and to you, Joe. So I'm going to tell you the key to 2019, and it started in November. When Jupiter went into Sagittarius, it's not been there for 12 years. On whatever budget that we all have, whatever that is, the more that we can give, and the more that we can actually tangibly, physically tithe, that's what's going to bless us in the next 12-month cycle with Jupiter and Sagittarius, because Jupiter's at home in Sagittarius, and it's all about the give. It's all about the give. And the more we can be magnanimous, and maybe all we have is an extra $5 after our bills are paid and everything, stick it in an envelope and mail it to whatever church or person or organization, or feed the animal or bless the show, whatever you can do, buy the books, whatever you can do to continue to let these truth teachers have a bit of relaxation in what they do. Support them. I do. I've done it all my life. And let me tell you, I walk by grace because
I hear
of
you.
it. But
That's one hell of a rant you got on there, but I wanted to say,
Joe,
bye, Junior, and thank you for calling, brother. I appreciate it.
Yes, and Joe and Mary, I'd like both of you to know that I hope that you and all of your loved ones and everyone in your audience has the happiest of holidays.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you for letting me on your show. Thank you for letting me on your show again. I had a great time.
You're very
Good
welcome.
night.
Thank you, sir.
Mary, how much coffee did you drink tonight? I'm just curious.
Only half a cup, honey.
What kind of coffee
Honey,
you
Spirit
drink?
fires me up. Listen, Spirit fires me up. It's more than being a Tennessee gal. It's more than being an Italian. I am at my best and full-fueled when I'm doing metaphysics or astrology or helping people. I absolutely breathe. It breathes me. It breathes me. I love it.
Well, I get cards from people, and I think you're right. I've got a stack of cards and I'm not saying I'm get like that guy on talk radio where I got stacks and stacks of fan mail, but I have a stack here of people that do send me cards and stuff.
That's
and
so kind.
I keep it. You're one of them. You send me a
I
card
salute everybody
a few
that
times.
does it. I salute their hearts. I salute their hearts.
I got to tell you though, it's kind of like when a girl says that she hates flowers or something, or don't waste your money or whatever. Never believe that. I don't care who says, don't ever believe that, because I'm not that, sentimental, to be honest with you. But when I get a card in the mail, I get excited every single time.
Of course. Part of it's because your inner child gets excited. When we first come into the world, especially between 1 and 7 years old, when we're downloading and being programmed by the current environment, any kind of, look at a toddler or a young child when they see a flower or they see a bee or they see a butterfly, or their aunt or uncle sends them a card with, a Best Buy gift card or $5 or whatever, or somebody in the store when you've got your parents there, of course, and safety says, listen, I'd like to buy your child, because you're with them, that candy bar or whatever when you're already in line at the counter anyway. Just uplift somebody's day. It's not about always the amount. It's about the spirit. Again, you're practicing psychism and you're practicing the magic and the alchemy as you send out that wonderful demonstration of gifting and tithing and giving. And I'm not saying it has to be the standardized, much touted 10% of whatever you make. I don't know if that alchemical formula works all the time. For some people it does, because they've put their belief in it, and that's great.
Well, I want to say, can I say something here real quick? I've got one of the best hosts on this network, Ryan Gable, right now, is down. And when I say down, he's down, like he's sick. Like his vocal, everything about what he does is being attacked. And he may not believe that's what it is, but, he doesn't make a lot of money at all. So if you guys can send him anything, if you're thinking about sending me something, that's great. But then I really would like you guys to send him something if you can.
Can you put out his contact data?
Yeah, I mean, his website, if you go to his website, it's thesecretteachings.info, and he's got a donate button there. He needs to go to the doctor. That's what he needs to do.
But he needs some support. So maybe at his website, he's also got, if you email him, maybe he's also got an address that people can actually send a holiday tithe to help uplift him.
Yeah.
I'll get it from you off the air, too.
He's got something going on with his throat, and it started to go away, and now it's coming back, and it's getting worse. And
okay, number one, we're going to cancel that.
Though.
Well, we're going to cancel that. Not to pick on you, but we're going to cancel that, because words cast spells and have intentions. And I understand what you're saying.
I'm just telling you what he's telling me. I'm not trying to cast a spell on the guy.
No, I know you're not. No, I know you. Oh, no. I know your character. But I'm saying even if he's saying it, I get it. We're looking at the factual data, but now we're going to uplift as a community, as a tribe. Tonight, we're also going to uplift. We're going to put him in our healing sacred chamber, and we're going to start all sending frequencies of miraculous restorations around him. I'm just going to call it into intention. That's all. I mean, it's a start. It's a start before everything else and all the other magic starts to happen. He's had to hit. He's like you said. There's been the attack, and now there's going to be the restoration and the relief. And we're going to call life into that.
Yeah, and I mean, I just got to tell you guys that everybody's shows on this network are growing in numbers. It's immaculate, really. But Ryan's is really taken off, and I think
he works hard.
Yeah, he does. He works really hard, and I told him off the air because I got a network to run too. I told him, I said, look, Ryan, he's been doing radio for 7 or 8 years now, and when you do radio, some people get lucky and they get to sit in a seat and they take off, or they're just natural born characters. Others work really hard to get where they're at, and he's one of those people that worked really hard to get where he's at, and I feel like he's about to break out. And anytime, and I've only been alive 37 years, but I've noticed this, anytime someone's really about to break out, doing what they love to do, all kinds of crap starts coming their way to try to stop them.
Because they're going to blaze a lot of light. Number one, he's already blazed a lot of light, and he gives out copious, valuable information. I've listened to him for a couple of years now, and enjoy it and benefit from it. And so what's happening, like you said, the crescendo's here. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, listen, if you just look at things as spirits of light and dark, if you just look at it, then would it not be logical that the dark spirits want to try to eclipse or knock the legs out from under somebody? He's a voice jock. What's the challenge right now? It's got to do with his voice box, his throat, his mouth, his livelihood. Yep. So it's as if the dark force is trying to tether into that, and so I'm going to rebuke that. And in my quiet time, and before I do anything else, I've been working on it actually, but I'm actually going to go in there magically and go, really? Let's play.
Like the Sagittarius?
And the Gemini, it's just like, what's this? Oh, I took training in exorcism and everything. Listen, this guy, when I tell you that I guinea pigged it and test tubed it, it was back in the 80s that Q105 in Tampa was having me go out to de-haunt houses long before the paranormal thing took off the way it took off. It's just like, Mary, we need you to go with us. And I'm like, for what? And like, this lady says that her house is haunted. I'm like, let's do this.
Well, I haven't experienced what Ryan's, he's been on, I don't know how many networks, tossed off of them because he wouldn't play ball with them, because he wouldn't change his message or his methods, right? He never changed his message. He never changed his methods. And he he's got integrity, says what's on his mind. He's not afraid to ask anything. He's not afraid to challenge anyone. And I said, man, for the longest time, I was trying to get him to come on the Fringe FM, right? Just come here. And he was loyal to those guys over there to a fault. It was a lot of loyalty there, even when they started trifling on him a little bit. And he finally, made the jump. But I feel like he's about to break out. If you haven't listened to the Secret Teachings, which is our late night show, you're really missing out. And he will rile you up. He will strike a nerve with you, but most of the time it needs to be struck.
Well, like he always says, do your own research. Mm-hmm. Do your research. With what I'm telling you, you go do your research. I've done mine. You go do your research. Go do it. That's a great challenge. I say it to people. That's why I relate to him. I understand exactly what he's saying. If you have doubts, don't just eviscerate. Go investigate.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen, did you see this new Bob Lazar film yet, Mary? You need to watch it. It's pretty good. But I wanted to keep talking about, we're up on a break, but I wanted to keep talking about the medicine wheel. You guys, too, I don't know why some of you aren't getting the call-in number, but I'll tell it to you again. It's 1-800-588-0335. And I've got some people telling me they're sick of hearing the number, and others going, what's the number again? 1-800 588-0335. And if you call in and it does something weird, just hang up and call again. It'll work.
Or email, or text it,
or
too.
Or text, yeah, 501-777-5631, or contact at lightingthevoid.com. We'll be right back with Mary Dusina. I'm Joe Roop. This is Lighting the Void. Stick around.
Out there.
There's something out here.
And so are we. KTLK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
All right, everyone, this is Justin from the UK. Excuse the chitty. If you're into the Fringe and you want to hear the brass tacks, me old China plate, Joe Roop and his guests on Lighting the Void will open your mince pies. You need to shut your northern self and use your 10-speed gears and listen to them bubble. You could hear a Barry Crocker, no Brussels, but he ain't no holy friar. Anyway, you beat a Barnaby Rudge and take a butcher's.
Hey, Fringe FM listeners. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or no Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of the Fringe FM by calling 701-719-3971. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. Saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Call 701-719-3971. That's 701-719-3971. Listen to the Fringe FM on any phone, anytime, anywhere.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Your home has needs. It needs a healthy, dry environment all year round. Start by getting rid of the worst air in the basement and crawl space, where the problems begin and make the whole house sick. Introducing the new Smart Wave Ventilation Unit. It has advanced technologies to continuously reduce moisture, mold, and odors, and expel radon, gases, and pollutants. And now, Wave units include carbon monoxide detection to automatically expel air at a high rate and send you an alert. It also has an app so you can remotely monitor the conditions. Wave is a comprehensive, maintenance-free, affordable solution that will transform your entire home. Protect your home and family with what it needs. Give it a new Smart Wave Ventilation Unit. For more information, call 888-717-WAVE. That's 888-717-WAVE. Or go to dryhealthyhome.com. That's dryhealthyhome.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Greetings, galactic community. This is Suzanne Ross, host of Sci-Spy Radio, every Wednesday evening from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific. Join me for this brand new show featuring a revolutionary new genre, Sci-Spy, merging science and spirituality to give us answers to the greatest mysteries of creation. Together, scientific discovery and spiritual revelation reveal the truth about who we are, where we came from, why we're here, and where we're going. Tune in to Sci-Spy Radio every Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific and discover the truth for yourself at thefringe.fm.
You're listening to Lighting the Void Radio.
Hi folks, it's a holiday season with hope in the air. Things to look forward to and no time for despair. Health can be a challenge, and so can the mail. So Get the Tea wants to help you by giving you a sale. Buy 2 months of Super Tea and get 1 month for free. No limit. That's buy 2 months of Super Tea and get 1 month free. That's a savings of $35. Where? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Scroll down on the front page and find the buy two, get one free ad. Click it and save. Orders over $100 get free shipping. Send the gift of life. Change tea at getthetea.com. We have many, many non-GMO organic supplements just waiting for you. This holiday season, enjoy health and Thanksgiving with getthetea.com. Want to call us? 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. Getthetea.com is a proud sponsor of Doing What's Right. That's getthetea.com.
Follow The Fringe FM on Facebook and Twitter at The Fringe FM. The Fringe FM loves hearing from you. Have a suggestion, comment, or question? We're all ears. Email talkback@thefringe.fm. Want to know what's on The Fringe FM? Check out our schedule at thefringe.fm.
Right. Damn, it bothers me. It does. Oh, I got a good story here. All right. So you guys want to hear this story? I got a good story to tell you. It's going to freak you out. The Chernobyl wolves that are infected with radiation are feared to be spreading mutant genes across Europe. The European gray wolf population has boomed at the site at Chernobyl since the human population moved out and it became a virtual wildlife preserve. There's a lot of research that's now revealing some of the wolves potentially affected by damaging radiation have been crossing Ukraine's borders into Russia and Belarus. But the news has sparked concerns among some in the scientific community that the animals may mate and spread mutant genes to other packs. The site became off limits to humans after the nuclear power plant disaster on April 26, 1986. You guys remember that, due to concerns about the high levels of radiation. They fear the wolves may now spread mutant genes across Europe. That's the doorbuster right there. If there was ever to leave Europe, now you got a reason. You got some genetically screwed up mutant wolves headed your way. You know.
Sea life.
Fukushima too, yeah.
It's never stopped since March 11th of 2011. It's never stopped.
Well, I don't know how real that is. I mean, I don't know how. I've seen some genetically screwed up animals here where I live and in the ponds, and I don't even know how in the hell that happened. So I can imagine what these wolves are turning out to be. But let's see.
I can assure you from relatives that were dropped into Chernobyl, I can assure you that the genetic mutation is a real thing.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Wolves, yeah.
I'm not laughing at it. I'm laughing at what you came up with as far as a visual, but no.
So the call-in number is 1-800-588-0335. The text-in number is 501-777-5631. We got a text-in number. I'd have lost you again for a second. You're back, though, aren't you, Mary?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe it's a cell phone. But this is from Allison. She says she's a new listener from Alabama and wanted to text in a question for you. Her birthday is December the 29th, 1988. And she's had anxiety basically all of her life. And for the last several years, she's been trying to get to the root of the anxiety in order to relieve it. Whenever she feels like she's resolved the issue, like acknowledging childhood stresses or being separated from her father at an early age, living in a home full of argumentative people, etc., I know exactly how she feels. It always feels like there's something else I can't see that is making me become anxious. I've been wondering if it could be some kind of karmic debt or even from a past life that I'm trying to work out in this current incarnation. Is there anything that Mary's guides could tell me, or could you possibly pull a card that can help me get to the bottom of the issue? I would really appreciate your help. Thank you. And that's from Allison in Alabama.
Wow, what a great way to framework all the question. Okay, it's both things. It's a bleed over from an incarnational soul duty, and she's like, in a sense, just to use a very familiar term to most people across generations, she's been like the odd duck or the black sheep that knows not to get caught up in the pattern, either similar to her families or in her own relationships or friendships. She recoils and wants to just escape or get away from anything of this argumentative pattern that starts to happen. It's essentially the argumentative pattern's like the hamster on the treadmill. It thinks it's going somewhere, but it's just spinning around and around. And that's the only option the hamster often has when it's a pet in someone's child's home. It's just like, okay, I might as well just run around on this wheel because not much else to do in this confined space. So I feel like, number one, she's December 29th, so she's a Capricorn. And so Capricorn is ruled by the planet Saturn. Saturn has to do with patriarchal or father issues, so she's right in tune with that one. So let's do a couple of past life or soul cord issues that might be happening. In meditation, she might allow herself to go visit some of the YouTubes of Dr. Bruce Lipton, just like the T, Bruce Lipton, and listen to, they're like 5 minutes, and he talks about how you can start to reframe and reprogram all that affected you, especially from the very formative download years of 1 to 7 years old. Fabulous, quick to the point techniques. Meditation, prayer, ceremony will help her get to affirming and setting intentions to rise above this challenge that she's beset with in the first part of her life. Her statement was, I've had this anxiety, or I've had these stress issues as long as I can remember, or all of my life. Or so number one, she wants to start reframing that, because post-traumatic stress is a real thing.
I've had it before.
It's an acute condition that happens when we're like gobbersmacked or bitch slapped by some kind of roaring event that comes into our life that seem to unfairly knock us, out. Now, I've had those. I beat cancer at 21. I got thrown off a 1,800-pound horse in 2012 and had to have over 114 stitches and nine pins and a metal plate put in my arm in 2012. So I know about physical. I know about the psychological. So when I speak to you about this, if I sound like, I don't mean to sound cocky, but I'm not kidding you when I tell you that spirit and my karma have thrown me literally into the middle of these fires, of these kind of experiences. And I can tell you that beyond the physical pain, beyond the psychological malaise, it's how you choose to discipline yourself to say, no more, not that way. I'm not playing the game the same way anymore. And it ends up being like this. Whatever recipe ingredients that she's been doing or not doing, or however she's been trying to micromanage this, by her own statement tonight on her text or her email question, whatever it was, it's not working. So she's got to change her technique. What she's done hasn't worked. It's still repeating. It's still the hamster on the wheel. So my insight message to her, and I will pull a card, I did pull a card, is that it's time for her to be like in a planning stage with this right now. It's the element that I see around her is that, like crystals and stones and in tarot, the pentacles, the earth on the medicine wheel. When we move into the north on the medicine wheel, this has to do with at Yuletide, at winter solstice, when we go into the mountain goat, when we go into the sign of the elders and our ancestors and the trail of tears of the generations before us, what we're carrying from, as she put it, perhaps even a former lifetime, but it's a soul imprint. And so when we go to the north on the medicine wheel, so Capricorn and Aquarius and Pisces, when we go into those seasons annually in our year, which is poignant for her because of her birthday, this is the time for us, in a sense, like the bear, like the snakes, it's a time for us to pay homage, in a sense, to our lineage. White buffalo. Buffalo is the totem of the north on the medicine wheel. And so it has to do with going within. The answers are within her. So she doesn't need to get their approval, or it's not her job to be codependent to be the savior that gets them to not fight anymore. She leads by example. So I remember when I had first moved out and got my first apartment, my parents like to banter like a lot of times when a Southern gets to an Italian. You can only imagine how that can be. Blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And that worked for them. Did not work for me. And I remember both my parents getting really pissed off at me because they came over, and they started doing their thing. And I'm like, hey, not here.
So is there like an herb she can take or something?
Yes. Now, let me give you a couple of things that can help. I'm going to give you, it's not just an herb. Taurine is an amino acid. It's not a vitamin, and it's not an herb. It's an amino acid. And taurine, it's like mandated. It has to be in dog food and cat food because taurine helps the neurotransmitters of the brain to chill out. There is another ingredient that you can take going into a health food store or some pharmacy where they sell vitamins and things. It's called 5-HTP. 5-HTP is the tryptophan effect. Again, another amino acid, like when people eat turkey and they get tired on Thanksgiving because turkey has a lot of tryptophan in it. You can, if it's depression, then St. John's wort is a flower that comes in an herbal tea, which is more inexpensive, less costly. Or you can actually take St. John's wort. Now, there's a caveat to that. If you live in Florida and you start taking St. John's wort to try to combat depression, like they'll put, give somebody like Zoloft or Prozac for, you get sensitive. That flower can make you sensitive to sunlight.
She's
so you
in
need
Alabama.
to do your research.
That's close.
Okay. So if it's anxiety, if you can find it, Big Pharma would love to take this off the market. If you can find kava kava, that's a great anti-anxiety herbal thing that you'll find at one of your health food stores. Hemp or cannabis, those are great, to be able, if you don't get into an addiction mode. I recommend baking with it or cooking with it rather than going out and buying a pound and smoking it. Because when you bake with it, then you still got the heat to release the relaxing ingredients. And if she's got any kind of drug addiction or alcohol addiction, then she doesn't want to work with cannabis. But what happens if you use a very small amount and you make the lemon poppy seed cake or you make the brownies and you take a tiny bit, like I'm talking about the size of maybe a quarter, as I say to people, okay, you're committed to the ride now. That's going to bloom out in your system because you're actually ingesting it, but it's already been heated and baked, and it's different than just sitting down and smoking a bong of it. So, and I'm trying to think, teas, it depends on her taste, but that you can find kava kava in a tea mixed with chamomile if you're allergic to ragweed. You don't want to do a chamomile tea. So there's things you need to don't just take my word or anybody else's word for this. You need to look at, like when I type in on a research on the internet, I'll say benefits and cautions of kava kava, benefits and cautions of chamomile. And I'll go ahead and look at that, and then I have to think about my own medical history. Am I allergic to ragweed? I don't know. I don't think so. So maybe I'll go to taurine, or maybe I'll go get 5-HTP and do the tryptophan because those are more amino acids, and our cells have like whatever there are, 33 or I've forgotten the exact number, but we need these amino acids, and then you start learning the foods.
I think it's like 22 or something amino acids.
Yeah. Well, all right, for example, Himalayan pink salt, when you buy the real Himalayan pink salt, it has every amino acid in it that we need.
I'd like to tell a story when you get done with this. I know will help her too. I know.
Tell her now.
Okay. So I've never told this story fully online. Now, I had panic disorder, I think, worse than, I can't imagine anybody having it worse than I did. I cannot, if they did, I'm so sorry. I wouldn't wish this on Satan. I'd rather have a kidney stone again. That's how bad the panic disorder I had was. And I'll tell you what triggered it. I was in my early 20s, and I was on every drug under the sun, maybe except heroin and crack, right? So, not doing nothing, just getting high all the time because there's nothing to do in my little town. And a few friends of mine ended up putting some stuff in the weed that I didn't know was in there.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's not. And what happened is you were talking about bongs, and then that's what made me think about it. I started putting this stuff in the bong, like a 6-foot bong. Okay. And I took like 10 or 11 rips of this stuff. I don't know if it was meth or coke or whatever they put in this weed, but I was listening to Rodney Carrington of all people, so I started laughing like a dolphin. And then this anxiety came up in me. I know it's funny at first, right?
No, it's not.
But then I started feeling like I couldn't breathe. My chest was caving in. I'd never felt this kind of terror before in my life. I was literally crawling out of the house, right? I crawled out of the house to my friend's mother's house and told them I was dying, that I'm dying right now. They took my heart rate. She was a nurse. She said my heart rate was up to like 200 or something, you know. They called the EMTs. They called my dad. They called everybody. And next thing I know, I've got this EMT on top of me sticking flashlights in my eyeballs. Now, this was when I was in my early 20s. I'm beyond this now. But this is what triggered all these panic attacks afterwards. But anyways, so I thought I was going to die. It felt like somebody was choking me with their bare hands. That's what it felt like when the air, because they said I was taking in too much oxygen. I was hyperventilating. I didn't even know what the hell that was back then. But it felt, all my arms drew up. Like I looked like a little Schmeagol. That's how my arms were turned up. My toes curled in. And I said,
you were going into shock.
Yeah, I said, what in the hell is happening to me? She said, you're breathing too fast. You're taking in too much oxygen.
Hyperventilating.
She said, all of the blood in your body is going to your main organs. Your brain thinks you're dying, right? I said, no, I am dying. She goes, no, you're not. You're not dying. You're having a panic attack. And my dad was like, what the hell is that? Like, that's a weakness to him, you know?
Yeah.
So anyways, when it was all over, after I experienced that, I never touched anything, nothing. Cigarettes, caffeine, nicotine. I was so scared I put everything down. I was afraid of everything.
Perhaps that was part of Spirit's plan.
And I kept having panic attacks every single day. I don't think it ever got as bad as that one. I wouldn't leave my house. I was afraid to go anywhere alone. The only times that I felt safe is when I was with my family or I was at a hospital. I went to hospitals and doctors, and they all run, I don't know how many tests on me. And I almost got in a fight with one of them because I was like, there's something wrong with me. You guys, you just don't know. They ended up sending me to a shrink. They pumped me full of Zoloft and Lexapro, Xanax, which I think the Xanax actually did help me a little bit at first, but
temporarily.
When your friends start trying to steal it from you, that's a whole other thing. They pumped me full of this stuff. I'm telling you that my brain was so messed up that I decided I wasn't going to live this way anymore. I don't wish panic and anxiety disorder on anybody, not my worst enemy. The people I hate the most, I don't want them to go through this.
No. Oh, no. Well, you experienced the dark night of the soul in like nanoseconds, but by the hundredth, to the 100th power, because it feels to me that something was also chemically put into that threw you into almost a semi-hallucinogenic thing, but being the strong-willed
everything felt
person
crazy. And after the the anxiety attacks were over, my brain was so wore out from the activity that I felt like I wasn't in reality. I couldn't tell the difference between
what happened was
or what
you jumped into a different dimension. You walked over to another dimension. It's what you did. You like were halfway in, caught up in, I'll just use the familiar term. You were kind of stuck in the astral. In the astral realm, we get the full impact of whatever sensation. It can be fear, it can be sexual, it can be the astral world is just like the full-on Monty of whatever is going on in the emotional cachet or the feeling world.
Well,
so what happened is you got over there, then there was a past life bleed through, then you were reliving a type of a death where you had suffocated in another lifetime, and then it's like I can't breathe. I'm telling you,
it was terrifying for sure.
Yeah.
And I was dating this girl. I said, well, and this is going to sound bad, but I was trying to do everything to take my mind off this stuff. Date girls, do whatever with them, whatever I could do, because I couldn't do drugs anymore. I called my dad one day, and I told my dad, I said, I'm not doing this anymore. He said, what are you talking about? I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't live like this. He goes, well, what the hell does that mean? And I didn't want to say the words, but I was reaching out for help to him. I was trying to tell him that I'm not doing this anymore. I'm on the verge of blowing my head off. It was so bad.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And, now here's what fixed it. And I would do what Mary's telling you to do too, but I hit my knees and prayed and prayed and prayed. I opened up the books of Psalms, and I started like yelling out Psalms. I had a full-blown exorcism. I remember feeling it. And the next day, I can tell you guys about what happened during that exorcism because it was crazy. But the next day, this thing, I just ran across it somehow. It was Lucinda Bassett's Center for Stress and Anxiety. And it was a whole treatment center for people that were depressed or anxious without drugs. And it took like 4 or 6 months. But I can tell you in a short, it cured me. But I can tell you in phrases how it cured me. I had to retrain my mind to shut out everything that I'd ever been taught, everything someone told me I was supposed to do or become, get a job, get married, go to college, do this, all the pressures. I had to actually start believing that was not real, that what I wanted was real. That's what I had to care about first and foremost. I was instructed to chase my dreams, not someone saying, hey, make sure you go chase your dreams, the same ones you had a child when everybody told you it wasn't going to happen, and all your naysaying friends that they think they care about you, but they like to watch you fail. You know, there's a lot of pressure out there. Still yet, chase your dream. That's what I was told. Second and third thing was to face your fear every day. So I would go out of the house and I would drive a little bit further every day, knowing that I was going to have panic attacks. I got as much sunlight as possible, and I laughed as much as possible.
Yep.
And that cured me. It took 18 months or a little bit more of doing that, chasing my dreams, laughing, sunlight, exercise, and something I thought that I was about to blow my head off over went away. No drugs. It was unbelievable. It was one of the hardest things I ever went through in my life.
But here's what you got out of that, and this is what is going to help her. Even though there was the volcanic trauma event, physically, mentally, spiritually, you addressed it at the right level first. You went to the Psalms, which are the songs in the Bible. You were saying them out loud. You were rewiring your neurotransmitters. That's what you were doing, because it's kind of where that statement comes from, fake it till you make it. In order to reprogram the subconscious mind, because it's our voice recorder, you've got to start calling out and affirming, and it's good to do it verbally or write it down because you're engaging the conscious mind then. But it's like the old spiritualists will say, you not only have to pray for it or meditate for it, you've got to claim it, and then you've got to take it. You've got to receive it. So what you were doing is you put yourself involved spiritually first. You got on your knees and you went to the altar of the Creator. Whatever you want to define Creator, everybody, that's up to you. But you went to the altar of the goddess or God or the Creator or the I am that I am, and you said, take it from me. I'm now calling in a new reality. I don't like that reality. I rebuke that reality, and I'm calling in sanctuary and armor and empowerment. And then you started exercising. So that started to get the other prescription drugs out of your body. You started to address it chemically. You halted the other things that used to be your go-to feel-goods.
Yeah.
And then you started, addressing also any hesitations of out to your father figure.
I had to learn how to relax again. Every day I had to listen to this tape. It was like a hypnotic session so I could learn to relax again.
Absolutely. It's shamanic. Listen, theta level is where a child stays until they're 7 years old. And theta is not only our imagination, but it's also hypnosis. So I absolutely would suggest to caller that that her question, and I'm going to finish with her card, I didn't forget it, that she start right away with doing some where she's in control. She can play it off the internet, YouTube, whatever. Start doing some self-hypnosis.
Super relaxation.
Yep. She starts this meditation, and the self-hypnosis is a deeper level of meditation. It's deeper, but you're doing it with you and the guided voice. So therefore, you're in control, so the anxiety can't get in there because you're going to listen. People with anxiety have to listen to a self-hypnosis meditation all the way through first. So there's no surprises waiting around the corner. Mm-hmm. When I do it on the phone with clients, I'll say to them, you're in control. I mean, I do all those triggers. You're in control. You can wake up at any time. This is all, you can't get hurt. You are driving. You're in control. I'm just a guide. You're driving the car. I'm just the guide. I'm just the GPS. Okay, her card is the 10 of scrolls. Now, when we get into scrolls, it's like, the papyrus. It's like the town crier would go out in the Renaissance of the medieval time. Hear ye, I therefore read the proclamation of the king or the queen. So a scroll is opening up. That what they used to call scribes would sit up in the castle with a little candle and write down all these things, whether it was the astrologer or the announcement that would go before the people from the royalty or the authority figures. And what her animal totem is the tiger. And the tiger energy, which is one of the Chinese signs, by the way, in the Chinese zodiac, it represents that she's going to have a reversal of this negative fortune. Like she's actually going to take the bull by the horn, so to speak. She's going to say, anxiety, I now reframe this, that you've been trying to get my attention at all cost. I no longer fear you. I turn and face you. You are a teacher. However, I'm ready to hear the lesson because I no longer choose to allow you to be my main teacher. She's taking back her power. So whether pain or anxiety has been a way to grab your attention unwittingly, but it still grabs your attention. Like you proved, just real quick, you proved to yourself, Joe, no matter what the EMTs were saying, no matter what the tests were, you kept claiming, I'm telling you, I'm dying. Something's wrong with me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so that's most people that are having a panic attack, or that's what they all say.
That's what they do. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what you did is very shamanic, because when you go to the edge of your death, like I've done several times with the cancer thing and the horse thing, and when you go actually and wow, this is a game changer. I could die. When you go there, that's the whole definition of a shamanic experience. You walk to the edge of the cliff. You see your life pass before you. You know you're in a near-death potentiality experience. You feel the trauma. It's palatable. You're freaking, and then you have residue. The residue brings you back with, I'm putting a stop to that, and I'm not doing that, and that's not going to happen up in here anymore. So you come back with this tremendous discipline of like, I'm not going there ever again. And then you're downloading the illuminations from your higher guides because you got on your knees, you genuflected, and you went to the altar. Whether I've done that in an earth-based ceremony, by the sacred fire, in the rain, in the thunderstorm. I mean, I have taken myself out in nature when it's been freezing, and everybody left the ceremonial circle but the Native American teacher and me, and he looked at me and he goes, wow, everybody ran. You stayed in the thunder and the lightning. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm committed to the ride.
Yeah, I want to continue to talk about this a little bit more because I think it's important. There's more people going through depression and anxiety right now.
Yes.
They can't get to the root of it, and that's exactly what Allison's asking, the root of it. And
it's a great topic, Joe.
I think I can help you get there, but all I know is what I've been through. But we'll talk about it when we come back. 1-800-588-0335 is the number. 1-800-588-0335. That's toll free from the United States or Canada. You can text in at 501-777-5631. We are live on the Fringe FM. Stick around.
Studio 303, it's the Stranger Than Fiction News right here on the Fringe FM, bringing light to the stories that surround us. Mysterious glowing green fireball is seen above Russia's scientific city, Research Institute. The bright flash and streaking tail was spotted by stunned motorists in Siberia. The area's Research Institute has been dubbed Vladimir Putin's secret weapon. Astronomers were left bewildered as there was no meteor shower expected. This article's posted at the Daily Mail UK. And the International Space Station is infested with mysterious space bugs that may be leaving astronauts at risk of serious harm, according to a new study. Scientists discovered a thriving ecosystem of infectious organisms aboard the station, which are similar to bugs found in hospitals on Earth. A NASA team found 5 different varieties of Enterobacter, with researchers calculating that there is a 79% probability that they may potentially cause disease. The toilet on board the orbiting space station was listed as one of the main sites of infection alongside the base's exercise area. This article's posted at The Sun UK. And a woman claims a giant flying creature in Ohio was 3 times the size of her SUV. A woman in Ohio on Thursday said she saw a huge flying creature. The 23-year-old woman, who provided her full name but did ask to remain anonymous, told Cryptozoology News she was driving with her fiancé when they spotted the oddity on Wednesday at about 5:45 p.m. Quote, "We were waiting at a red light. It flew over the hospital building," she said. The eyewitness described the being as 2 to 3 times the size of their vehicle. It had elbow-like wings, it was darker than the sky, and the wings were huge, she added. She explained that the unidentified animal was only visible for about 10 seconds. "I'm glad we both saw it, not just one of us," she said. If you remember last week, a Wisconsin man claimed to have seen a bird that resembled a pterodactyl. This story was reported at cryptozoologynews.com. And time for this edition's fun fact. Portland, Oregon was named on a coin flip. Had the coin landed the other way, the city would have been known as Boston, Oregon. And that wraps it up for another edition of the Stranger Than Fiction News right here on the Fringe FM. I'm Vance Nesbitt, anchor and news sorcerer.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go. The Fast Start Diet has all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting without starving. We've helped thousands of people who have struggled to reach their weight loss goals. Isn't it time we helped you? With the Fast Start Diet, you'll lose weight and feel great.
Find us on Amazon or go to faststartdiet.com and use promo code POWERSAVE to get 10% off your first box. And as a special bonus, we will include our #1 rated appetite suppressant spray free with your order. Whatever your diet plans are, start with us at faststartdiet.com and use promo code POWERSAVE.
Magic, the occult, history, health, news. These are just a few subjects discussed on my radio broadcast, The Secret Teachings. I offer unique and objective perspectives on new and old subjects alike, while welcoming guests and presenting my own research with no filter. Visit my website for more information and to subscribe to my archive at www.thesecretteachings.info, and find me on The Fringe FM live Monday through Friday, midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern on The Fringe FM.
You're listening to Lighting the Void. The call-in number is 1-800-588-0335. If you would like to text, you can text in at 501-777-5631.
right, so tonight it's Cosmic Conditions. It's our new moon show here on Lighting the Void with Mary Dusina. If you want a free reading, you can call in at 1-800-588-0335. The last reading we done was for a text-in for Allison from Alabama, and she was talking about her anxiety. There's a lot that causes that anxiety that you don't really realize is happening with all the crap going on. I mean, right, you can watch the news and just freak out about stuff like Russia and the United States are flexing their muscles to each other after these agreements went south. Russia showing off a video of their laser weapon, but didn't show us how to use it. They just show us that they had one. A couple of days ago, the United States flew planes over to Ukraine to flex their muscles. So they're, acting like they're about to shoot each other. And you're like, why the hell am I even reading this? And what I'm looking at is paper, rock, scissors between the United States and Russia. Nuke, laser, bomb would be the game, actually. It's, 1, 2, 3. I think bomb trumps laser weapon. But anyways, what I'm saying is, it's like they got, you got to get away from that stuff. So the first thing that I was trained to do to get rid of anxiety was relax. That was number one. And I had to do it every day. And this lady would make me listen to, because you can't relax on your own anymore. You forgot how to. And I had to listen to these meditations that would start with very deep, shallow breathing, where you had to count to almost 10 on your, and I think it was 5. It's like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and so forth on your inhales. And then once you got to about 10 breaths, then they would do a hypnotic thing of either a glowing light or a warm light, and it would relax you. After I had to do that every day, and then they would give me these homework assignments that were almost impossible to do, but they showed you what was going on. Every time you have a negative thought, I want you to put a check mark on a piece of paper. I don't care what it is. This sucks. My foot hurts. I wish my dad would quit bitching at me, whatever, right? And check mark. And every time you have a positive thought, put a check mark. Just try it it's a bitch, but just try it for a day. And you'll start to see what your brain is being programmed. You are programming depression into your brain.
Yep.
And it's not, I'm not saying, it's all your fault, but this is, how you were brought up around these people. The third thing is to follow and chase a dream. I don't care if you want to be in the movies. I don't care how crazy it is. Do it. Face your fears every day, a little bit at a time, follow your dreams, and then you're going to have, everybody tells you need to get a job, you need to do this, you need to go to college, you need to do that, and you believe it. But it's not true. You need to believe whatever you want to believe, and whoever comes to you, you know what I'm saying, Mary? Like, even in the radio business, people say, this is how it is. You got to do it this way, and you got to do it that way. And you got it, and I'm like, well, why is a 3-year-old on YouTube making more money than the rest of everybody?
Right.
Nobody knows anything. We're all humans. Your parents are just as full of crap as everybody else.
Right.
So for God's sake, chase your dream and do what you want to do.
Well, as I said in the first hour, Sagittarius, this is the most auspicious new moon, rather, and we'll have a full moon at Yuletide, winter solstice. We are in the most dynamic, stellar signatures in the west part of the medicine wheel. Autumn is the west. And the western part of the medicine wheel, it's where we meet ourselves in the mirror, what's looking back at us. As I said in the first hour, this Sagittarius-Pisces combination of Mars joining forces with Neptune and Pisces. We'll finish out this year. The last day of the year, Mars will still be in Pisces, and that is bring the sacred into your daily world. However fashion you want to do that, but you need to bring the light, call the light. And I'm calling it the Sagittarian surge. It's a surge of creativity and healing. And rolling from the new moon to the next 2 weeks all the way to the full moon over the 21st and the 22nd, we'll have winter solstice. Yuletide Eve is the night. Yule is going to be on the 21st, so the night before is Yuletide Eve. High time for ceremony, magic, prayers. Again, if she would address this between a new moon, perfect point of beginning. Sagittarius' vision quest. It's the centaur. All the centaurs were involved in healing. So this is she's called it the most powerful fortunate time of this entire year. That's how her higher self's working for her.
Yeah.
She's sent the question in. I need to know why and how. So she's now
trying to get to the root of the problem, which is understanding that there's a root there. That's good, you know.
Well, listen to her oracle card, the tiger energy. It's representing a type of reversal of the fortune that she's grown accustomed to, shall we say. So wherever she's been imprisoned, the Ten of Scrolls, the main keyword for that card, the thematic energy is exile. So on the card, there's it's kind of like the tiger's looking like it's kind of bewildered. You know when cats get that funky face of like, I don't know if I'm going to attack you, jump on the cat toy, or run out the door and do the spazzy run. I don't know what I'm going to do right now. Right now I'm in a feline kind of state of mind. So it's like the tiger is a bit bewildered and yet held captive, like she feels like she has been, by a negative cycle related to an emerging important awakening lesson. It's like she's getting the red pill. So the lesson for Allison, like you're talking about, Joe, so succinctly to her, the lesson now wants to be learned before the cycle can end. Until then, it simply keeps repeating itself. To her point, I've had this all my life. I want out of this repeating cycle. So this card, the Ten of Scrolls, which is the Ten of Swords in traditional tarot cards, swords are about bringing up our willpower and rebuking the frustration or the things that are dragging us back down into the quicksand of negative thinking or emotional collapsing, freezing in fear rather than embracing our creative compassion towards ourselves. So it creates these repeating patterns in your life. Now, these patterns, Allison, are usually, like 8 out of 10 times, fueled by this negativity. So they're triggers. Those are triggers. Just like in hypnosis, I'll give people triggers so they can go right back to the meditative moment by snapping their fingers, or often I'll use touch your index finger to your thumb, and it'll take you right into the sweet spot of the shamanic meditation I led them on for healing. So these negative words, this argumentative family pattern is a memorized repetitive behavior. It's like a magnet that attracts itself, like the moth to the flame. So the passion energy represented by the animal totem of the tiger and her oracle card, it overcomes these unlearned lessons. She's halfway there now, Joe, because she recognizes it's a pattern she no longer wants to reside in. She's halfway there. She's already halfway there. Do you realize the people out there that don't even know yet on a conscious level that they're caught in a vicious repeating cycle of same old drama, mama?
Yeah.
So the tiger energy has come to her tonight at this new moon to say, you're strong-willed, you're confident, and you're resolved. So just like we're doing the same thing to uplift Ryan, a tribal brother. So just like there's like a debilitating energy that's attempting to take away his skill set and his gifts because he's been a strong warrior. Now we're rebuking that. And so he's like got assistance from his other soldiers of the light, both his friends, your support to him, Joe. We're calling in the higher forces, everything he's written about in his books. It's like now he gets to see everything he researched and everything he wrote and recorded and did all those years and decades of talking about. Now Spirit is saying, okay, we kind of got your mouth and your throat a bit caged right now because what we want you to see is the support that you've got out there. You've been a great soldier. You didn't give in. You carried the torch. You are ascending. Now watch, because when we go through these dark times, like Allison and like you went through, Joe, and like I've gone through, you see who's got your back. You see, who's going to come to your aid. There'll be people that'll be emailing Ryan. There's people right now sending wonderful waves of energy to Allison. There's thousands out there listening that aren't calling in because they're going, yep, I can relate.
There's another thing that scares the hell out of you, too, during that time is you start to see that nobody can help you, right? So you truly are alone, and you just want to be around
but that's
people.
Where the answers reside.
Yeah, you just want to be around people that'll be like, if I die, will they care, right?
Right.
But they can't do anything for you. They won't do anything for you. They don't know how to do anything for you.
Because you're having a breakthrough of resplendent light. There's an old country term that we say here in Tennessee in the South called be ready if you ever get to bear witness to the glory clouds, if you ever feel like that you're in darkness and you can't see your way out of it, summon the clouds of glory. It's pretty much like the trumpet of Gabriel, or the breath of the divine, or like the full fire. You know, like in old school religion, the first baptism is of water. What's the second baptism, Joe? You're in the South, you know.
Yeah, it was funny. I was thinking about something though. Like when I was driving to Memphis, facing my fear, right? That's 4 hours now. That's a long ways away from home, where nobody cares if you die, right? Drive all the way to Memphis and come back. I wonder what those passengers were thinking when they looked over and they saw me driving with big eyes, breathing in a paper sack. You know, like, get the hell away from this guy, because that happened. I had like 5 or 6 panic attacks, but I knew I had to do it, you know? Imagine yourself driving down the road, you're listening to Kenny Rogers' greatest hits, and you're just relaxed and you're in the zone, and you look over and there's this dude and his eyes are dilated and he's breathing in a brown paper sack and he's driving down the road. And you're like, holy hell, get away from that person. Yeah, that happened to me.
Here's what their higher self knew. That guy's in a battle with his soul. I mean, they can assume things like, he's drunk, watch out. He's on drugs, watch out. He's like a wild man, watch out. Or he just got a divorce, or he just found out somebody's cheating on him. I mean, they're going to assume all kinds of things in the tangible material world. But truly what you're going through is as it talks about, for our battle isn't with men, it's with principalities of light or darkness. Now, I can tell her one more thing that will help her. There's a reason why we feel like just the Aborigines also, by the way, say this is a part of what they call shaking medicine. Shaking medicine can be everything from seizures to dancing, to chanting, or being in a trance. But shaking medicine is what we get from music. So music, there's a reason why in a lot of the holy books they talk about, you know, the thrones of angels singing incessantly by the throne of the divine, or you know, Buddha hears the sweetness of all the sounds of nature. So there's something about music, and I can tell you, when you put on something that resonates for you, and if that's for the generation that liked Pink Floyd or Kitaro or Vangelis, or there's so much stuff. If you just type in what you want, you know, like there's now the frequency music that you can type in on YouTube, and you can type in high frequency, rebuke negativity, musical meditations. And again, there's no lyrics, but you're like hitting into the Hertz zone that actually goes through sound healing, like Dr. Emoto proved with the sacred geometry that would happen with water.
I'd known about that stuff back then. I didn't know anything about that.
Absolutely. Listen, from skeptic to patient to knower, I can tell you that if you just find what resonates with you, that you start to feel your energy just, that's not, I like that. And just close your eyes and sink into the divinity of that, because a sound bath will heal you even faster when you're going through the anxiety than getting to that next step of affirmations. But let's remind your audience again, what's the first step, Joe, that you talked about on your show last night? What's the first step when you're going through negativity or anxiety or panic? Or what's the first step? Psychic, soul, self-defense. Yeah, self-protection. So
I can tell you some freaky stuff, too, that was happening to me that I knew that it had something to do with my soul, because I would, like you said, I was hallucinating. I would see weird things. I would have crazy nightmares, and I was helping my uncle frame a house one time, and I remember we had to use those nasty porta potties to use the restroom, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I remember it was 6 o'clock in the morning. It's dark, because we always had to go to work super early, and I hated it. And in the mornings, every day I was afraid I was going to have a panic attack, but in the mornings I was kind of tired and it wouldn't work, you know. But I started feeling the anxiety come up. And I forget his name. He was one of the 3 brothers that worked with us. He was sitting on a scaffold. And, you know, if you look at a construction house, you know where the peak of the gable of the roof is, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a scaffolding going across there. And he's sitting up there, and he said, "Hey, Joe." And he looked down at me. And I was like, "What?" And he said, "The devil's got you, boy," you know.
Oh, Lord.
And I was like, what the hell? And I ran into the porta potty and locked the door, right? And I had a rubber band on my left arm, and I would pop it. You know, if I started feeling anxious, I would start popping my wrist and inflict the pain to bring me back to reality, right?
Yep. That's just like you can take your index finger and touch your thumb. They teach you that in neurolinguistic programming. It's a trigger. It's like you become a living remote, like a TV remote or audio. You become your own remote producer, host too.
What was
like
weird,
you are
though,
the show.
Is when I got back out at lunch, I looked at him and I said, his name was Denver. I remember now. I said, Denver, why did you say that to me? And he said, say what, brother? I said, you told me that Satan had me or whatever. And he just stopped eating his sandwich, his mouthful of sandwich, and he looked at me and started laughing. He's like, dude, you're crazy. What in the hell are you talking about? You know?
Whoa.
And he would never say something like that. He's not like that, you know?
So he didn't even remember he said it?
No. I felt like I was in that movie Fallen, you know, where something possessed him and looked at me. That guy, you know, he did do drugs. I know he was on hard and heavy drugs. They all were when we worked in construction. But he just turned and looked at me with this evil face, man, and was like, the devil's got you, you know.
He was temporarily possessed. That's what it was.
I was like, what the hell? It scared me, man.
Well, and what you did the right thing, though. Your inner child and your higher self was like, get away from him. Yeah. Even if you're running to the crapper, get away from him. And your point about what's going on with the news and the politics and holiday pressures and people spending too much when they shouldn't make any Hanukkah or Christmas or Kwanzaa about just money. You know, you can take all that pressure off of you if you simply decide with yourself the holidays are going to be about generosity of soul and finding. I take one person every year, Joe, one person. And that's who I decide is going to be, quote, the holiday presents are going to. And there's a widow that broke some ribs, and she's an animal rescuer, and she's, like, really proud. And I thought, nah, those animals are going to eat. Boom. So I called into the tribe, and I've got tithes and things going to her because it's just her. I mean, that's just it, and very, very meager type of stark is a good word for it, Germanic type of circumstances, but her animals eat before she does. So it's like, okay, 3 years ago it was this gal, this child that got burned really bad up in New York, and I rallied a bunch of people around that. I have no problem with us rallying around energetically helping Allison and the Fringe and also Ryan. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do with this soul-filled time of year. And I'll tell you something else I forgot to mention. We started a pattern. You've heard of 0 point energy. Mm-hmm. We started a very unusual, rare pattern back on the full moon of November. 5 full moons in a row that take us to March 20th, so spring equinox, the beginning of the zodiacal new year, the mystics new year. From November of 2018 to March full moon at 0 degrees of Libra, we've got 5 full moons at 0 degrees of a sign. So in astrology, if something's at the 29th Antarctic degree or 0 degrees, it's like big-time news into celestial mechanics like myself. So like the full moon that's coming up is going to be, we're going to hit that 0 point again. We're going to hit that right at Yule. It's winter solstice. So we're at 0 point of, like on the medicine wheel, we're walking toward the buffalo. That's the visual.
It's like
we're walking.
You haven't seen Game of Thrones. I'm sure everybody that's watched that will get it. Winter is here.
Well, 0 point is like real high opportunity to get out of the cocoons and emerge as the butterfly. There's a lightness of being. This time frame right here that we're talking on this night at this new moon in Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is all about vision quest. The bow and arrow are raised. Sagittarius is the truth seeker on vision quest, and what the constellation is the half man, half horse wisdom, understanding. He takes the bow and arrow, the archer takes the bow and arrow, aims the arrow up into the heavens, and wherever the arrow is released and lands, it's kind of like the leprechaun and the pot of gold, and it's got to do with there my vision quest lies, and I will now journey and adventure toward that answer. So the arrows and it's raising up to the higher mind, raising your arms up, finding your sweet spot of harmony, music, Reiki, frequency of sound healing, affirmations, getting on your knees, privately in your own room, by the bed or whatever you have to do, or out in nature, actually just saying, I take this to the throne of the I am that I am, the all that is, the light. I take this to the light and I say, take it from me. Take this from me. I release it.
I can tell you the freakiest story how I exercised myself. And, we got some text ins here too. We're up on a break, but I want to tell you guys this because somebody just texted me. He's like, tell me about the exorcism.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking, okay, I'm sure Mary's going to know exactly what I'm talking about here. But yeah, we're up on a break. We're in the last part of the show. Guys, if you do want to call in, remember it's 1-800-588-0335. I've got an inkling they might be broke. Sometimes that happens. But you can also text in at 501-777-5631 or email the show at contact@lightingthevoid.com. We'll be right back with Mary Dusina, guys. Don't go anywhere.
Truth is out there.
There's something out here.
And so are we. KTLK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
You're listening to Lighting the Void Radio.
Who were the real ancient Egyptians? What is it about ancient Egypt that captivates us all? The critically acclaimed series Magical Egypt is back with all new episodes. Let Chance Gardner and company take you on another adventure through Magical Egypt in the new series Magical Egypt 2. Magical Egypt 2 attempts a forensic reconstruction of the science of the ancients through a study of ancient aesthetics. Also, the best researchers and authors in the field like John Anthony West, Graham Hancock, Laird Scranton, Robert Bouval, Lon Duquette, Aaron Cheek, and more join together to explore the topics of the esoteric and the hidden messages of the ancient Egyptians. Just go to magicalegypt.com right now and put in the code word FRINGE and get 10% off any download or order, including the groundbreaking original Magical Egypt series, as well as the new episodes in Magical Egypt 2. Also, check out the great work and the companion series at magicalegypt.com. Click the banner on the Fringe FM or go to magicalegypt.com and use the code word FRINGE and get 10% off your order today while it lasts.
All right, everyone, this is Justin from the UK. Excuse the chitty. If you're into the Fringe and you want to hear the brass tacks, my old china plate, Joe Roop and his guests on Lighting the Void will open your mince pies. You need to shut your north and south and use your 10-speed gears and listen to them bubble. You could hear a Barry Crocker, no Brussels, but he ain't no holy friar. Anyway, you beat a Barnaby Rudge and take a butcher's.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Hello, this is Vance Nesbitt. Take the time to expand your mind by listening to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop right here on the Fringe FM.
Follow the Fringe FM on Facebook and Twitter at the Fringe FM.
Lighting the Void is proud to announce Mind and Magic's Protection and Defense Course for protection from magical and psychic attacks. This is not a joke. Magic practitioners are on the rise, and with that comes attacks from baneful or black magicians that try to harm or hurt others for their own selfish reasons. If you are not a believer in psychic attacks, then this isn't for you. If you are, and you want the power to defend yourself and your family and home, then I highly suggest you grab Frater Xavier's Protection and Defense Course. In this course, you will learn how to tell if you are under attack from a natural source or if an individual is attacking you. The 4 forms of curses and attacks. How to remove self-imposed curses. The correct way to cleanse your home from negativity or malevolent entities. How to make your own holy water. What you should always keep near or under your bed. Herbs that banish negativity and promote purity. The most powerful banishing rituals on the planet. And for those that seem to want to harm you the most, how to put your enemies in a hell pit of their own making. You can also learn protection against shadow people and other entities. Or are you just in a bad planetary alignment? Even how to get rid of an enemy using a tic-tac box. It does not matter what your faith or belief is, this will work. Click the banner on the website at lightingthevoid.com or go to lightingthevoid.com/Xavier.
Want to know what's on The Fringe FM? Check out our schedule at thefringe.fm.
All right, so welcome back. I am going to tell this story about this exorcism I call an exorcism. Speaking of exorcisms, did you know that this is kind of crazy? The gay exorcisms are on the rise in the world's largest Muslim community. This is sad, but it's happening. I want you to know this is happening in your world. Police on one of the 20th biggest cities in Indonesia recently apprehended 18 couples in an attempt to cure their LGBT identities through Islamic exorcism. According to the local Muslim belief, homosexuality and transgenderism come from spirits known as jinn, who are cast out in an Islamic exorcism known as rakhya. I hope I pronounced that right. There's been a number of cases who have reacted to this, meaning they're not pure, and there's a supernatural interference inside their bodies, pushing them to commit these homosexual acts. You know, you think we got it bad? Imagine living over there. Good God. So they're exercising them, and I know it didn't work because there's no sign of it. But so there you go, folks. The world's worst homophobes are blaming the demons. That way, when they get caught, being homos, because that's probably why they're doing it, because they're homophobic. The same thing, they got a fall guy. The demon made me do it.
It's a double standard over there.
Yeah. Was it a succubus? Was it an incubus? Wait,
yep.
I mean, does it matter if it's female or a male demon? I'm a little confused here.
Demon is a demon.
That's just stupid. But, we got... I'm not... Look, and if you're Muslim, I know some of you are shaking your head going, look, I don't do that kind of stuff, and I believe you. I'm just telling you what kind of stupidity is going on in the world right now. But I will say that I believe that there are real exorcisms of a spiritual kind. That when I was telling you about that anxiety thing that I did, that I had, excuse me, I'm getting flustered here thinking about it because it was a freaky moment. In desperation, I went to the book of Psalms, which I found out later was actually a magical text. And I was up in my grandmother's, she had 3 floors in her house. And I was at the very top, and there's a steel door in there. And there's bookshelves all around. It's just trying to paint a picture here for you. In the middle of this living area. And I sat in the middle of this living area, and in desperation started crying out some of these psalms that I found. I really can't remember why I did that. I'm pretty sure it was just desperation. But I do remember repeating it over and over again, louder and louder, because I did start feeling better by doing that. I felt empowered. And it was a windy day that day, but I remember the door blew open. And when it blew open, I first I wanted to stop and run over and shut the door, but I didn't because I was just caught up in the moment. So I kept saying the psalm louder and louder. And to this day, I don't remember which one it was. Then the books flew off the shelf. Now, they weren't circling around like you've seen in that movie, The Craft. They weren't flying around my head, but they were coming off the shelves. And I just remember how good I felt after that. And
clouds of glory.
I went to Dad's house, and I thought he'd be proud of me. So I went to my dad's house, and I was always trying to make my dad proud, which was part of my problem, right? Mm-hmm. And told him that I'd prayed to God using the Psalms, and I might have gotten rid of my issue because he thought it was an issue. Mm-hmm. And I told him he just kind of smiled and chuckled, but then he looked at me kind of funny, and he was like, how did the door come open? I said, it blew open. He said, that's impossible. That door is never blown open. It would take a tornado to blow that door open. It's a steel door. It's reinforced.
Wind spirit.
And I was thinking, well, it did then, and it was fully shut. And you guys know that I talk about Frederick Xavier quite a bit. I told him that story, and he validated that's exactly what happened. Now, you don't have to be a Christian to exercise yourself. That's not what I'm saying.
That's right.
Was just the paradigm that I grew up in, and it was what I knew or how I knew to call out to the higher spirit to dig through my subconscious and past that veil And
but there's a bigger point to it. You went to the roots of this incarnation, and because you came into that culture in this lifetime and that in this incarnation, it was part of your familiarity karma. That's why it was medicine, magic, alchemy that worked. And by calling from the Songs of Solomon to Psalms, which is songs, by doing those affirmations, and you were also saying it louder and louder, you were getting into a rhythmic chant of the Psalms, which involved sound. You then invoked, and the door blew open and said, I have arrived. Almighty I am, I have arrived. Whatever you want to name it, walked in. It's like my mama used to say, speaking of Southern grandmas, we called her mama. Yeah, she said, of course, in that very, mammaisms, as I call them, one day she said, Marilyn, she said, one day there was a knock at the door. And I'm like, okay. And all of my full 9 years old self, okay. And she said, fear knocked at the door. And she said, love was on the other side. When the door opened, nothing was there.
Huh.
Now think on that. And I mean, then I would go for months with that in my head. It was like, talk about seeding a magical recipe. Fear knocked on the door. Love was on the other side. When I opened the door, there was nothing there. It was just love. So it's like she would say, fear can't exist. Fear is rebuked by faith, or the fuel of faith, or love. I remember one time she said to me, when the first time you sit in a car, you don't know how to drive it, do you? No, ma'am. Well, all right then. So you can sit in the car, but that doesn't drive it. There's things you've got to do, things you've got to learn, things you've got to practice.
I wonder.
Now learn how to drive.
It sounds like you're a lot like this woman,
Oh, Mama's definitely still one of my main guides.
But see,
I watched a 95-pound woman many times without any money, hardly any means, absolutely transform her life circumstances. And I remember, going, wow.
Well, I just don't want people to think that it was, I did it out of desperation, and I'm still,
of course,
kind of a mystic, but that's the protocol that I use. If I'm doing magic or ritual or prayer or anything,
mystical.
I use a Christian-based protocol. Sorry, but I do.
But it's still mystical. It's still mystical. Listen, like I say to people, they say, are you into the paranormal? I said, I'm walking, talking paranormal. I didn't get to have a choice this lifetime.
Don't, you can't have faith in these people that wear robes. I mean, hey, just today, no, it was yesterday, I think, nuns took like $500,000 from Torrance Catholic School. They embezzled nuns. They embezzled $500,000 from the school, the St. James Catholic School. And you know what they did with it? This was like people's tuition fees and donations. They took this money and spent it at casinos, gambling, while telling the parents of the children that were going to the school that they were on a shoestring budget.
Listen, Big Pharma rapes and rips off people all the time under the guise of hypocrisy.
And Muslims are doing
the
gay
Hippocratic
exorcisms.
Oath. Okay?
Stay away from religion.
Well, I don't want to ever. I don't like judgment so much. People castrating people with their judgments that I don't want to say every Christian, every Baptist, every nun, every priest. I've known really good people, but the first people that can get chased by the demonic energies or the dark forces are the people who have integrity, that walk with the light, that choose the light, that are soldiers that are going to do the right thing in this experience of life, regardless of your job or your relationship or whatever. So again, we go back to step one: learn psychic self-defense.
Which everybody's going to get that book. I'm repeating. Mary said she's on the newsletter and she didn't get. I haven't sent one out in a while. I'm sorry, so I'm going to give you guys a gift when I send it. Let's get to this text.
There's your
here.
holiday blessing. There's your tithe right there. There it
Cindy was born. She texted in, by the way. She said, I was born on July 6, 1957. I almost died at 6 months old. I've often wondered why I didn't pass over, because I never really fit in my family. I've never really have figured out my purpose in this incarnation. Can you help me find it? Thank you, Mary.
Okay. The first thing I received psychically, and I don't know if she'll ever be able to validate this, so I'm certainly not huffing and puffing that I'm right and everybody's wrong. Just take my word for it. I'm just going to simply be that spiritual satellite and tell you what's being downloaded into me. I feel like that there was some anxiety when her mother first found out that she was pregnant. And it could have, a lot of times it can be a young age freak out. It can be they're not married freak out. It can be they're married, but the woman worries what the male is going to think about, I'm pregnant. Like when we have an oops, or when we have an accidental pregnancy, or when all of a sudden you're pregnant and it's like, oh God, the pill didn't work, or we don't have the money. There was some backstories to that. And I feel like the mother was carrying some type of deep-seated, to herself, anxiety waves the whole time that she was pregnant. So in astrology, and also in a new relationship, a new job, or when we're first born, here's a secret that you won't find in any book. Here's a nice little pearl for you. 6 months into a new person you're dating, into a new marriage, a new job, in her case, her life, 6 months in the celestial scheme of things is 6 signs away. So she was born in July, so she almost died at 6 months. So that would have been somewhere like in late December, January. So like if she's July 6th, 6 months would have been January 6th. She almost died around 6 months old. 6 months is the first opposition polarity that we encounter in that new relationship, new job, new chase your dreams, as Joe said. 6 months is where you come to the 180 degrees or opposite sign of what it was that first was birthed, or that you first began. So at 6 months, and by knowing this, you now know. So this show, for example, in December, is tied to the one in June, because it'll be 6 months from now. So it'll be interesting to hear the stories of different people in June and how they resolved it, like Alyssa and Cindy. So you've got a 6-month pattern here, and I feel like that the little soul of the baby chose to come on in to try to awaken that family, that mom, that dad, and all the collateral damage that was going on there with codependency and enabling and addiction and things that were very hard to face. I keep feeling some kind of psychological, at least mental or emotional abuse in that dynamic of that family. And so she was like the little puppy or the kitten or the hope to bring light into a very frustrated, dark, or difficult scenario. And like she said, I don't know why I didn't cross over, because there's something that's now released, by the way, that was embedded in her subconscious that she wasn't really wanted, which subconsciously happens to every child that's born. And many parents will say, I was really scared when I first went out, I was pregnant. He was kind of upset about it. What are we going to do? And then they end up loving the child and all that. But there's that first seed of intent, of that first, ruh-roh kind of moment that the woman goes through, holy crap, you can't be just a little bit pregnant. Some big, hard decisions have to be made now, okay? Like, do I keep the child or not? Do I give it up for adoption? Will I miscarry? Will I have an abortion? All those things orbit around the vessel that carries the incoming life. But it's a supernatural phenomena. So she came in as an awakening into an already dysfunctional, riddled with difficulty domestic situation. Now, that's unlocked now for her. So her purpose this lifetime is not to, like Alyssa, see the concurrent theme, is not for her to go stop them from arguing or mend the wounds that were already existing in a poisonous or toxic situation emotionally and psychologically. Sometimes it's addiction issues. Sometimes it's just they're abusive to each other. They don't know how to leave each other. It's toxic, and they stay because it's a habit and it's familiar, and they don't have the money, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that the nodes of the moon have changed. She's July 6th, so she's in that the sign of the moon, Cancer the crab. She's oceanic. Water heals her. A water fountain, the river, the babbling brook, getting to the ocean, sitting by the still lake, rain. Anything to do with water can heal her. So even if she listens to water on her laptop or on YouTube, or things to do with water, taking a bath, when she's taking a shower, close your eyes and envision as you're rinsing your hair and letting the water run down your back that you are now, that's all going down the drain. The past, the toxicity, the feeling of being unwanted or not good enough is literally running off of you. You can tangibly feel it as the water and the soap and the shampoo and the conditioner coming off your body, and the water's rinsing it down the drain. She needs those really cognitive, open-eyed type of meditations, like when you're vacuuming up dirt and hair and crumbs and things. So when I'm vacuuming, that's another time I'll do a detox active meditation. I'm now vacuuming up the residue of the things I no longer want in my life. And I feel like with her, the North Node just shifted into Cancer. And it's interesting, Joe, that you mentioned that your issue took about 18 months. The eclipses and the nodes cycle is 18 and a half months. So we've now left the Leo Aquarius North-South node, and they go backwards. We're shifting now into the Cancer Capricorn, and all of us, that wherever the Cancer Capricorn, Cancer's the matriarch, the Isis, the goddess, the high priestess, the moon, and in the oracle cards, and Saturn and the father, and the emperor is the masculine vibration of Capricorn and Saturn. We're now, all of us for the next 18 months, I don't care what sign you are, but especially if you're a Cancer, Capricorn sun or moon or rising sign, we're going to have to step up, because it's been 18 and a half years since the last time that we took a look at the hardcore effects of the domestic arena and the family habit patterns. So there could be deaths, there could be marriages, there could be new boundaries that are being set by her, but she is on her road to recovery and freedom. They're not going to be able to toxically imprint her or entomb her anymore. And I feel like that when she gets to February of 2019, she's going to look back to December of 2018, and she's going to say, my God, how far I've come in such a short time, just by my awakening and letting certain concepts and thoughts and blooms happen for me at an energetic, soul, psychological level. And here I sit in the second month of 2019, and I'm freer now than I have been my entire life. That's what I see. And I see the dove of peace. I see the dove of peace for her sky totem. That's her animal oracle. So read everything you can on the legends and the myths and the constellation of the dove.
And there's a lot of people that are trying to figure that out still to this day. So you're not alone, by no means.
No, right. It's part of Earth life. Earth incarnations are about learning about feelings and emotions. We don't worry about that when we're in between lifetimes. We're in the spirit world. We don't have to feel. We don't thirst. We're not hungry. That's why the Celtic hand fasting ceremony says, turn, eat the cakes. May you never thirst. May you never hunger. Turn again, and they turn on the directions of the wheel. Same thing in the medicine wheel. East is the dawning. The east is the beginnings. The south is working through our childlike wonder and imagination and angst. When we get to the west, it's about our sacred relations, our significant others. And when we get to the north, we're walking in tandem with Great Spirit, Great Mystery, Aho Mataka Yasin. We're calling Great Mystery and Great Spirit, a.k.a. Holy Spirit, to the Christian realm. We're calling in the Holy Ghost. We're calling in the full force of the paranormal to help us that we can't seem to get unstuck from in our human, mental, thought world, mind world. We have to seek to rise up from these gripping thoughts and these psychological, the Bible calls them strongholds, these mental strongholds. And I'll be the first to tell you, all the decades I've been teaching myself and clients, you got to feel it to heal it. And most people, Joe, they don't want to feel it. They don't want to think about it. They don't want to have to feel it anymore. You got to crack the egg and you got to get out. You got to crack the cocoon and you got to emerge. You got to feel it and heal it.
Yeah, it's rough trying to figure that stuff out.
It's rougher
too,
to suppress it. It's rougher to keep on.
It's a lot rougher if you don't do anything about it.
Right. Then it goes into your cellular level, and then you start having breakdown in the body. Absolutely. Stress compromises our immune system more than anything. So anybody out there that's got any kind of health challenge right now, go back to the last 3 months. What's stressing you right now? What's the why? Find out the why. What are you over anxious about? Why is it pestering you right now as we come into the, quote, traditional holidays of Thanksgiving and Hanukkah and Christmas and Kwanzaa and yada, yada, yada? Why is it getting a stronghold over you? Start Sagittarius. The Sagittarian surge is about find your why.
Mm-hmm.
Just start there. Just start there. Why?
It's another thing to realize too. I think that's one of the hardest things to realize is whatever's happening to you in your life, you want to think that it's happening to everybody else. You know, it might give you some comfort to think that it's happening to everybody else.
Well, absolutely.
But it's really happening to you, and that's what matters. And
I
you
just want
need
to say
fix
this
it.
again. It's all both a lesson, and we're both students and teachers forever and always. These are lessons to advance our soul, and the purposefulness of it is for us to stop thinking about just me and them or they and me, and plug in to the divinity, plug into the sources of light. So there's not such a tunnel vision, a focus on me and they and me. You got to plug up. You got to reach up into higher, and that's what Sagittarius is all about. That's what this particular last month of 2018 is about. Aren't you ready to get out of the self-imposed prisons? Yes, there's actors and players, and that one knows how to poke the tiger in the cage, and that one knows how to, look at you and say, "Hey, boy, the devil's got a hold of you." I mean, there's triggers. Yeah. There's triggers, but they're all ultimately shock effect to wake us up. So we're not.
What? Something's crazy too about that is I wasn't. When that stuff happened, the anxiety thing or whatever, when it happened, I wasn't studying at the esoteric. I didn't care about it. I was just changing, from who I was to who I wanted to be. And then I remember to this day having a dream where I was at a pool hall during this time, because I remember most of those dreams, they were pretty vivid. It was kind of a pool hall or something in the woods. And I remember looking up and seeing a full moon. And then how in a dream when everything freezes, the people around you freeze. They're not moving. They're not blinking. And then this other moon rose up next to the moon, but two moons, if you can imagine, beside each other. And the previous moon fell. And when it fell, started falling, it seemed like it was falling towards the earth. But when it fell, I felt like I was falling in the dream with it. And all of this fear just rushed up inside of me, right? And then I woke up breathing heavy. I didn't know that was a symbol till nowadays.
Well, look at the pool.
I studied
you said you were out in nature, and you were drawing down the power of the moon. The moon is the subconscious. The moon is also about entering the dream lodge, going across the star nations into the dream lodge. And what is the shape of the object on the pool table that you take the cue stick and the chalk, and what is it that you're moving around on that table? They're circular spheres.
Yeah. It was just a circle. Yeah, and it represented, I think, a shift in me at that point. If I would have kept going down that road, drinking, doing drugs, just trying to chase that high, I'd probably be dead right now. I wouldn't have my son. I wouldn't be here.
Right. Well, and the sun, your son, was the new life and the new dawning and the awakening from the shift that you finally were shocked. You were literally shocked into your shift.
Yeah, it was bad, but it was necessary. That's for sure. We got to get out of here, Mary. This went fast.
I know. It was wonderful.
Well, everybody go to her website, Mary Dusina, MaryDusina, MaryDusina.com. Follow her on social media. Hit her up. I know some people have. A few people have. Keep that up. Mary's good to have on your side. And thank you so much for coming on the show again.
And I'll talk to you all on January the 3rd when we come close to the new moon of Capricorn, and we'll talk again about these family and patriarchal issues. And everybody, just close your eyes for one quick nanosecond. Breathe in the light. Call forth grace for your new year that's coming. May you have benevolent, prosperous, heartfelt moments as December of 2018 closes out the chapter of this year.
Right on. And I have to say that the show was produced by the Fringe FM and cannot be rebroadcast or syndicated without written permission, and music was by Chronox, Carbon Based Lifeform, Space Station, and Kevin MacLeod. Next week, we're going to talk about the Bob Lazar film. We're also going to have Jason Quitt on. And for you guys that have always been here with me, or some of you new listeners, I want to thank you for coming on the show. It's fun, and we're going to do it week after week. I don't know what else to say other than I really appreciate it.
Bring in the heat of the light.
Yeah. I am the Fuzzy Dice. Think of my show as the big fuzzy dice hanging from your rearview mirror of life. We got to get out of here. Good night.
God bless everybody.
Views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the Fringe FM, KTLK Digital Broadcasting, its sponsors, affiliates, or staff. Listener discretion is advised. We told you weeknights on the Fringe FM are now even better. And we mean it.
Do it live! Where else can you hear the best shows and the best talent? Kick off your evening with our newest host, Alex Exum, live at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern. Hang out with me, Joe Roop, on Lighting the Void at 9 Pacific, midnight Eastern. Ryan Gable expands your mind on the secret teachings at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern. We're bringing the heat every single night. Fire it up, the Fringe FM.
Yahoy there. This is Gigi from Shift Happens. And holy shit, you're listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM. Hey, don't you dare turn that stand.